There we go.
I am a liar.
I've always known that about you. It's one of the reasons that we stream. Are we going? Are we live?
I'm a liar, and we are live. Hello there, everybody. What's it called? Serial ports.
Hey, we are alive and awake. Here we are on this glorious Sunday morning and / or afternoon. Delete as appropriate.
Yes. I've realised I can do a tweet about this, and then people will know we're doing it.
Yes, I just did a tweet. Hopefully people can see. Now the chat in the middle, because we're experimenting with a chat box this week. There's a grey space in the middle that should be filling up with chat, which is not, fun fact, Cockney rhyming slang.
Yes,
but it should. Is there anything happening in the chat right now?
Let's find out with looking.
Bring it up with my magical other computer.
Okay, so yes, Mr. Bobby Boo is asking if we like Nando's, and that should be serving as.
It's not. It's not appearing.
So it isn't working.
It's not working.
Oh dear.
That's okay. We can. I mean, I can. What I can do is I can click a thing, and then that disappears. Oh, you've frozen suddenly. Oh, have we lost David? Have we lost Dave? I feel like we've lost Dave. It's just me. It's just me and a frozen Dave. Dave, come back. Oh,
hello,
are you
back? I think I'm back. I couldn't hear you for a moment there. Or, well, no, I could hear you, but it was like, you lost, Dave. But now I can see you.
You are back. You're a little swirly and pixelated. Now you're back. You are back. You are human. One of the many. So I'm sure. Oh my god! I'm just realizing how much of a mess my apartment is. I did laundry yesterday and I didn't put any of it away. I'm sure that you can realize we are not in the same room. We are not sitting in one office with a white bar.
This is magic. This isn't real.
Yeah,
it's pretend.
It's a jaunty angle, and I'm realizing as well it's a jaunty angle that is slightly. There we go. We're in different time zones. We're not even on the same landmass. I'm in Los Angeles, where it is currently 9:09 in the morning, and
I am in Manchester, where it's currently 5:09 in the evening. If you allow that 5 counts as the evening, I think more late afternoon, but it's dark outside. That's the thing.
I always thought of 5 as the evening, only because there was the very first job I had in the UK, and I was just talking to your lovely wife about this, because this is the job where I got fired on my last day, as opposed to getting fired on my first day. Which is I got fired for coming into work half an hour early. That's this job. And
you got fired.
I got fired after
coming in half an hour
early. Yes, and I had been there for 51 weeks, so I hadn't even been there a full year. I'm also realizing, by the way, there's a stain. There it is. Check that out. It's not part of the design or anything.
Very good.
Listen, I got out of bed. I turned on my computer. That's where we are. It's fine. Anyway, so this job, I can't even remember why we're talking about the job now. It's gone.
No, but I'm interested though. The very concept of being fired for being half an hour late, it makes me think that what they were doing, up until the moment when you were supposed to come in, that was when it started being they got the front up by that time. Whereas half an hour before, you were in danger of seeing the criminal enterprise that they were really running behind.
Secret, shady criminal cabal that they have working out of the warehouse selling bootleg Tigger phones. That's what the company I worked for was. They sold telecoms equipment, and when I lived with my then girlfriend at the time, she saw that they sold that phone that's Tigger on a round base, and he hops up and down and sings the wonderful thing about Tiggers when it rings. So we had that. I know why I know why I brought this up. One of my co-workers who worked in the sales department would pick up the phone and say whatever time of day it was, not like the hour, but in the morning he'd say, "Good morning, thank you for calling our company. How can I help you?" And in the afternoon, "Hello, thank you for calling our company. How can I help you?" As soon as it hit 5 o'clock, he would say good evening. Good evening. So for me, because I was 17, 18 when I worked at this job, 5 o'clock is the start of the evening. So that's the earliest point in the evening. And I would say the evening stops sometime, for me personally, I've had no other adult guidance, no influences, between 6 and 6:30, and after that you're into the night.
Oh really? Oh no, I think 6 and 6:30 are full-on evening. No, to me, evening goes on until 10, and then it's...
You have a late evening?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah.
I think I gauge purely by how dark it is outside, and I do recall that it gets, here in LA, it's sunny up until it isn't. Like the even the shortest days don't start getting dark until about 4:30, and it takes by 5-6 o'clock. I remember when I was in England for Christmas in 2019. It felt like it got dark around 3:30, and I'd forgotten how short the shorter days were in England.
This is Serial Ports, the show
Yes!
which talks about nothing.
It's the Seinfeld of streams.
I'm getting this concern that we may have had every facet of that conversation last time.
Yes, it is entirely possible that all we're doing is reliving the same conversations over and over.
Because it's, in a way, a nostalgia stream, and that's fair enough. This is Serial Ports, the show that is considering changing its logo to a ginger beard.
I think the show is being taken over by ginger. I haven't trimmed this in a while. It's a little bit Vincent Van Gogh right now. It's just fluffy. And there are some long hairs on the side that, fortunately, my webcam doesn't catch up, that are just kind of, it's like my face is escaping sideways.
Oh, well, that's good. The idea, if you could really try and grow those out so you have two sticky, outy, whiskery bits at the sides, that'd be ideal.
Oh, yeah, like you go full on Treasure Planet with it.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in Treasure Planet with the kind of whiskery?
I don't know, but I know what you mean. No, I know. Yes. You're thinking of the old guy in Atlantis who has got two sidey-waysy beards, doesn't he? Yes.
Yeah.
That's the stuff. Yeah.
But oddly, although when I was a kid, I enjoyed Atlantis more than I enjoy Treasure Planet. As an adult, Treasure Planet is the one I gravitate towards when I want to rewatch something from that era of Disney, kind of post-Renaissance, pre Chicken Little.
Yeah, when it all fell away. Yeah, I think of them as roughly interchangeable. Not in terms of content. I'm very aware of the differences between the films. I know them both very well. But I think of them as these two little brothers, these two little jigsaw pieces that slot together as here's what we were doing at this very specific moment when Disney basically went, what if we just do sci-fi anime for a while?
Yeah.
And it was great. They were both kind of a bit not great, but also really great in ways that are I think I love both of those films unless I'm watching them.
Yeah, you're in love with the abstract idea of what those films could have been, as opposed to the harsh reality of what they are.
They're full of so much good, and then also some compromises. And the compromises, I think, stick out when you're trying to show them to someone in a breathless kind of look at these great films way, and then you put them on and you're like, ignore that. Yeah. But they're great.
I think the thing about that era of Disney is everyone thinks, that era of Disney, it's not the Renaissance, but it is still good. And then you realize it's not, and then you realize, I wasn't thinking about those. I was thinking about The Road to El Dorado. That's the harsh truth of it. The Road to El Dorado is a brilliant movie, and it's also not Disney.
It's good. It's not Disney, and this is something that I've been coming to terms with recently, because I'm over on my Disney podcast, Serious Disness. We're currently releasing epic episodes about the Beauty and the Beast remake. We had a lot to say about the content of that film, and during it, one little gimmick that we did was we showed our youth correspondent Ewan, who does a recurring segment called Serious Missed This, because he is just too young, didn't watch the Disney Renaissance films. He didn't like Beauty and the Beast, and it was confusing to us. We're like, what do you mean? And the reason it is, among there are various reasons, but what it seems to boil down to is that, people who weren't right there at the time watching those films have heard of the Disney Renaissance held up by us as this time when animation reached this new peak and kind of reinvented itself. And what I don't think either group has realized is that it hadn't reached its heights yet at the start of the Disney Renaissance, which is Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast. That was when they were just getting started. And Little Mermaid is the one where everyone went, oh, this is good. And Beauty and the Beast is where everyone went, oh, no, this is actually good. But they weren't yet anywhere near the level of quality that their existence allowed to happen in the immediate time following that. So, if you watch, have it sight unseen, if you haven't seen them, if you watch Beauty and the Beast, hailed as a classic, nominated for Best Picture, and then you watch, I don't know, Treasure Planet or Atlantis or something like that, then it's the latter film that you're probably going to think is the better because it's just so polished.
Yeah.
Even though it didn't make as much of a mark because we'd been there already, as it were.
I have the original Beauty and the Beast on Blu-ray because it's a very important film to me. And I think I mentioned to you last time that my sister won a copy on VHS, either on What's Up Doc or Gimme 5 as a call-in contest.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But we had it on video, and then I had it on DVD, and now I currently have it on Blu-ray, and also it's up in like 4K on Disney Plus or whatever now. But I have the Blu-ray, and whenever I would watch it on Blu-ray, I would think this actually doesn't look that good because you can see how rough some of the lines are, and it's there's a huge quality jump when you get to one of the scenes that they've animated to add in for the Blu-ray release, because the line art is suddenly a lot cleaner but also a lot less interesting. So it goes from one type of not quite good to another type of not quite. It goes from early 90s theatrical Disney where it looks great but is still kind of a little rough around the edges because they were really working their asses off to get this film ready to release, to actually, the line art's quite good, but it has a slightly straight-to-video-esque animation quality about it. It's a little bit Belle's Enchanted Christmas or whatever that movie was called.
Do you know, there's another layer to that, which is that the film that we're watching now is not the original film. They when they made the IMAX re-release, which is when they put Human Again in, they sort of drew over it all again. Because they were like, this doesn't really blow up to IMAX very well. We need this to be digitally sourced. So let's just trace it. And they did. And so, yeah, very strange quality to it. There is a thing happening behind the scenes and underground to get scanned up a lovely 35mm print of it from the old days. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes.
I have a similar scan of the 77 cut of the original Star Wars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I also
4K77.
4K77 exactamente. I don't know why I've said exactamente. I'm not going to say it again. There was another film that I was going to bring up in a similar context. The Lion King. When they re-released The Lion King on IMAX, they redid the waterfall sequence, and the original waterfall sequence is gone. It's not on the DVD, the Blu-ray, Disney Plus, anyway. It's gone.
Yeah.
That was brought to my attention, God, I want to say 12 years ago, by my friend John Hoare, who was one of the founders of Ganymede and Titan.
Oh, this is something I want to do a video about sometime soon, because it's been bugging me for a while and I've been doing some more research into it. The biggest, most egregious version of which is that on the Blu-ray release of The Lion King, maybe there's been another one since, but whatever the original Blu-ray release of The Lion King is, the one I own, they just forgot... They just forgot to put Mufasa's clouds in. So there's a... It's not the whole bit. It's not the whole sequence of him coming through the clouds. But the bit where, like, Simba's running towards the edge of the of the cliff.
I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
Where there's these roiling clouds in the background. I think it's as he's folding back in on himself and going away. There's a whole shot where they just forgot to put the clouds in. They're supposed to be there. They're not. I think they've fixed it on Disney Plus, but like only just. Hey, everybody! This is a special episode of Serious Business. We're now going to segue into an episode of Serial Ports. We should start it off.
Let's. Although I do want to call attention to Michael Warren's mention in the chat of the film Titan AE, which came from that same period.
Yes.
We'll figure out the chat thing next time. We'll get there. But yes, Titan AE. That was Don Bluth, wasn't it? That was like like one of Don Bluth's last.
Might have been his last, yeah. Then, anyway. Yeah.
Shall we play a game? We should, because this, and I'm going to have to. There it is. There's the chat window, which I'm going to have to turn off.
Sorry. That is a shame. I don't know why that isn't working.
Yeah, we'll figure it out for next. Well, what we'll do next time is we'll get on a little bit earlier, and I'll move this over here to try to accommodate some of this space.
Meanwhile, we'll do what we always do. I'll be on chat reading out duty while you're on game playing duty.
Absolutely. And so we are assuming that this is working.
Yeah.
There should be. I don't know if there's. So we're playing Pokemon Yellow. Which means
Pokemon Yellow.
We're not. I tell you what, we're not getting though. For some reason, we are not getting.
What are we not getting?
The audio from the game is not coming through on the stream for some reason. I'm hearing it from my speakers.
And I'm not hearing it.
You're not hearing it. That's unusual.
It is.
That is very unusual. I wonder why
We made what we did. There's a slightly different setup this time from last time, which is that we just decided not to do a setup, and so we just had a conversation for like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
and then we're late.
I tell you what. Let me play around with this a little bit, because what I would probably do,
and I'll
we'll get
have
there.
a look in the chat.
We'll get there. Here's the thing. You were getting game. Oh, it's just quiet. I think that's just coming from my speakers, and we might just do that. Actually, we might just do that.
I could hear just then. I heard the barest bit of something.
Yeah. I think what we're doing now. I'll put the speed on her. I think. Yeah, I've just turned the volume up on my speakers, and that's how we'll deal with it. How many earphones do we have?
I don't think that's working. Like, I can hear occasionally the hint that there may be a Game Boy somewhere in the room, but it's not really something you can hear.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Now, it is frustrating, although do bear in mind that, controversial statement, but the music in Pokemon games, not very good.
Yeah, I think the music in the Pokemon games is kind of more for a nostalgia thing than anything else. And do remind me, Dave, what is the theme of our stream? What is that?
What is the theme of our stream?
Yes.
What am I being prompted to supply here?
I think the word I'm prompting you for is nostalgia. I think that's kind of what I'm leaning towards.
Because we were talking about music, I thought you wanted me to sing a theme tune for the stream.
Well, listen, hey, I will... Yellow Ash Jack, by the way, is my favourite Red Dead Redemption character. I do think that we do now need a theme for the stream, and I think that's 100% on you. I think I'm going to throw it to the chat to name our Pokemon trainer. First person to come up with a name that doesn't make me want to climb inside of myself is going to get the name there.
Okay, right. Coming up with names for Pokemon trainers, everybody.
Lamau.
Yeah, I don't think that's a suggestion, but it's a suggestion.
It's right now. It's the front runner.
Yeah.
Black White soundtracks have a lot of bops. I actually like the music in Pokemon Gold and Silver, but again, I think that is just a nostalgia thing.
You see, yes, and don't get me wrong, I'm very nostalgic about the music in Pokemon games. It's just that I've always had this criticism of it, which is that it sounds very similar to what I used to do when I was sort of 15 and I was trying to write music on computers, and I would realize I'd zoomed in too far and typed out something note by note that to me was a tune in my head that sounded good. And then when I actually hit play, I realized it doesn't quite sync up with the rest. And it's just... And that is quite like how the Pokemon music goes, isn't it?
We've had some suggestions so far. We've had Belch,
yes,
Alfield, which is, I guess, is what happens when Alfred from Batman and Garfield from Garfield step into the teleporter from The Fly. Donald, Ginger Birdman, which will not fit. Twatch.
Beard Man. Ginger Beard Man.
Ginger Beard Man, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Red.
Red, that's just his name.
Yes. Red Beard, Goofy. Big has really suggested Red and said, G-Pit Classic.
G-Pit Classic.
Trainee McPokerface will not fit. I'm kind of leaning towards Redbeard, but it might have to be like... Fit? I think if we that just looks like red bread.
Twedge, by the way, Mickey Husky there saying Twedge, possibly a coincidence, but probably a reference to the latest episode of my podcast in which I come up with the word Twadgequiddle when trying to. I'm imitating the fact that the comic is reviewing a sports game, a tennis game, and starts saying things like "you can do backspin" and this and that, and just start saying jargon we don't understand. So I just start listing off nonsense. Twadgequiddle being among them, but Twadgequiddle sadly too long to fit in the trainer name.
I've typed in what is either an abbreviated form of Redbeard or is an acronym for Red Dwarf Beard. Either way, how do we feel about that?
Yeah, completely neutral. Go ahead.
I'm going to go ahead and do that. We're going to go with Redbeard.
Yeah.
At least I didn't type in bread this time. So now we get to name our rival.
Yes, I'd forgotten this. This is the bit where the guy goes, "What's my grandson's name?"
I don't remember my own grandson's actual human name.
You tell me his name, and that will be his name.
I think he should be Twedge.
Sure, okay, because he looks like a bit of one.
He's, There we go.
Well, that's Tad. That's just Tad. You need a W in twat.
Oh, you're right. I left off the W. Well, he's Taj now.
It's all right. He's Tad. That's a perfectly good name for him.
Although it could be a euphemism for something, and I don't like the fact that someone's grandfather is going around saying, "All right, Taj." So here we are. This is my Super Nintendo. I'm playing on the Super Nintendo. There we go. God, it's been so long since I played these.
So, what's your story with what's your Pokemon story? How did you come to this? And then I'll tell
My
mine.
Pokemon story is this. I remember seeing imported copies from the US on the shelves of BTs.
BTs.
A very, very long time ago, and I did not buy it because, like, well, why do they have to be? Why are there two different colors? They're the same game. I looked at the back of the box. They're the same game. I'm not. This is just a cash grab. How little did I know?
Yes, that would have been our first experience of the same game being sold in different editions.
Yes.
Now when that happens, it's usually obvious that one, comes with a soundtrack and some wallpapers or whatever. Whereas then it was just, here are two games that seem to be the same game. It was quite confusing if you didn't already know.
Yeah. I'm about to get my Pokemon, my Pikachu.
And this is this is not one of the original ones. This is the hastily made soon afterwards anime tie-in version, isn't it?
Yes, and to kind of continue my story, I remember seeing the anime and thinking, oh, this seems fun and colourful and exciting, and then I remembered those games, and I didn't get my own copy. I got Pokemon Red in high school. I bought it from one of my schoolmates, who I suspect actually may have stolen it from someone else now. Like, I look back on it and go, oh, well, that's very clearly stolen, wasn't it?
Oh, dear.
But the first Pokemon game that was not stolen was Gold. My dad bought me Gold for Christmas the year it came out in the States, and that was the game for me. Like I kind of fell in love with oh no, I'm about to get that Pokeball stolen. Screw it. I always forget how this goes. I'm also not reading the text because I've played the Pokemon game so many times. That's I played Pokemon a lot. It was kind of the first real RPG, but it was the first RPG I kind of cut my teeth on before I ended up playing things like Earthbound and Final Fantasy VI and Super Mario RPG, which, as we know, is the greatest RPG ever made. That's a fun game that didn't get released in England.
Yes, I'm sort of struggling at this very moment that it isn't on the Switch Online SNES stuff as far as I'm aware, and I just don't have my Wii set up anymore, so I can't play that. It did come out on Virtual Console on the Wii, I think, because I had it.
And it also the SNES Classic Mini, it was on that as well, which I think was like one of its earliest.
Oh, I never had one of those. Perhaps I ought to get one. Or I could simply emulate it.
We could simply emulate it, which is actually kind of what I'm doing right now.
It's a bit like that.
It is almost exactly like that.
Do you think there is anything that can be done about the sound? Because that's a very irritating noise to have to listen to.
Yeah, let me see. Because it's coming through a system sound. Let me see if I can...
I wonder why it isn't routing through the same thing. Well, okay. Well, while Ben fiddles about, I'll say my Pokemon story, which is that I
there we go.
When I went, oh, is it working?
Yeah, OBS had forgotten what desktop audio was.
Great, that's cool. Now, for the record, I can't hear it, but that doesn't concern me. Do tell us, people of the chat, what the music mixing level is.
Yeah, it's too loud. I've tried to put it down so it's like half of us, but I also know how obnoxious the Pokemon music is. So I'm going.
I still didn't do that tweet. I'm going to do it now.
That's not a bad idea.
I'm live with. This is what I'm saying. Ben Paddon playing some Pokemon.
Some
Yellow.
Poodle Moons. Yes.
For the first time since the 90s, that is.
Sure. Rec D says, clever saying this is a TV tie-in game. I know I got yellow as a kid because I was addicted to the anime.
Well, this one literally is a TV tie-in.
Yes, it's all the anime. Like Team Rocket shows up in this one. And Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee on the Switch are basically remakes of this. but with different like fight mechanics. I've only ever played the demo, and it didn't really stick out in my mind.
Right. So my Pokemon story is that
You're a Pokemon.
I'm a Pokemon. When I was about 16-ish, and I was first together with my wife Abby, I was round her house, and she introduced me to the cartoon, which was she must have had Sky TV or something. It had been on, and I couldn't watch it at home. So she taped some of them, thinking, "Oh, Dave might like this," and I couldn't get into it. I was just like, I don't know what's going on. What is this? And then randomly, the first episode came on while I was there, and we watched that, and that was it. We were obsessed with it then. Like, we just spent the whole of the rest of the time that I was there that week, because Abby lived like hours away from me, so I would visit whenever there was a bank holiday or a school holiday. And so we had about a week together, or 2 days or 3 days or something. And we just spent the whole time watching Pokemon. And eventually we were like, right, we need to see if we can find the game. And we went into Swansea, and there was a import and and oddities game shop there. And sure enough, there it was. There was one copy of it, blue, I think. And I was like, oh, this is it. I called Abby over. And we looked on the back, and I was like, oh, is that it? Because, what it looked like was a first generation Game Boy game. The graphics are so simple and basic. Looking at this now, I don't think I'd seen anything like it. I don't think I'd played turn-based RPGs before.
Yeah, this was for me very much kind of the first turn-based RPG. I mean, I'd seen Final Fantasy VII being played at a friend's house.
That was what I was just about to say. I wonder if, because we also got into Final Fantasy VII together, and I wonder if that had happened yet or not. But it didn't look like that. It didn't look like the bare bones Game Boy. One character in the corner, another character in the corner, no background, 2 health bars, numbers, that's it. So I was like, is that it? But we bought it. And just, I don't know how to explain it. Something about this little game, just being this little kid walking about and collecting these little monsters, was just addictive, and that's all I can say. You just wanted to keep fiddling with it.
Yeah.
And so then I go back home. I find my own copy. I can't remember where I got it from, but I got one, and I brought it into school. And I was doing A levels at the time, and all my friends got into it in exactly the same way I had done. We were passing my Game Boy around, and everyone was playing on my cartridge. So we had this one shared save file between me and all my friends.
It was kind of like Twitch plays Pokemon before Twitch.
A little bit. And we were, and one or two of us really got into, there was a couple of my friends got into it more than I did. So I was into it for the monsters and just the addictive quality of it. They were trying to win, and they were training up some Pokemon. So very quickly I was just left in the dirt. I couldn't play it anymore. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know who these Pokemon were. It just wasn't my deck anymore, if you see what I mean. And so then I got Pokemon Yellow, I think for my birthday or something like that. And it was I brought it in, and we were all excited, and we had a look at it. And unfortunately, under those circumstances, it didn't stand up, because it was just the same game, except now, as we can see on the screen, Pikachu is following along behind you because he was...
Call him by his given name. You started calling him Pokemon, and that is now his name.
Pokemon was following along behind you. And because, of course, he'd been made popular by the anime Pokemon.
Yes.
We didn't say... I even feel bad saying anime. We never called it an anime in the
I still...
the cartoon.
It's kind of weird. I still don't think of the Pokemon show as an anime. To me, it's a Saturday morning cartoon, and there are so few... Yeah. I think there are so few anime shows that kind of were able to break through that membrane of mass market pop culture.
Pokemon was the moment. There were already anime fans in the West, those teenagers, but they were getting their stuff on VHS tapes and via specialist channels and stuff. Pokemon was the one where we stopped calling anime cartoons. And I regret that. I think we should call them cartoons. I was watching a video the other day, which was a very entertaining video called What is an Anime? And it was, or something similar. And it was bringing up all these examples of things that, do we call this an anime or not? If it's stop motion animation, but it's made in Japan, is that anime? If it's an episode of Pingu, that's made in Japan. Is that anime? Is Pingu anime if it was made in Japan? And I was like, listen, this whole question doesn't even come up if you just listen to me in the first place and call them cartoons. Because the Japanese call them cartoons.
Yeah, and this is like you also have things like there are many seasons of the original Ninja Turtles cartoon from the Hero Turtles cartoon from the 80s that were animated by studios that were doing anime. Like I think one of the I can't remember because I was talking to Mandy about this, but one of the studios that worked on Ninja Turtles was also the studio that animates the Lupin the Third anime.
Right.
So there's a lot of cross-pollination. There's a lot of studios. Trigger does stuff. They're a studio now. Like Trigger does stuff for American studios all the time. Trigger animated a huge chunk of an episode of the Animaniacs reboot, and it's stunning to look at.
So Pokemon is thought of as was thought of as the anime that broke anime into the West, but it wasn't. It was just the one that made us start to differentiate them, because we grew up watching stuff that was made in Japan, or at least half made in Japan, and we never talked about it. We never separated them off. We didn't think that Ulysses is a different thing to Duckula.
Yeah.
Is a different thing to those wherever in Europe things like Oxtails was made, and that stuff. Alfred J. Quack and things like it was all just cartoons, regardless of where it came from. And then after Pokemon, it was like, no, we're looking for cartoons from Japan. We call them anime now, and we're specifically looking for that style. And it's never really changed. That's even though now that the markets are extremely closely meshed together, like everyone calls the Castlevania animated series an anime, even though it's not like that wasn't made in Japan like in the way that Pokemon was. It's just there are animation studios in different places and stuff, and they're used for different things. But anyway, so Pokemon did that.
Yeah. Toku Prime brings up an interesting point.
I've been looking at the chat. Sorry,
which is that Pokemon is where Nintendo finally became real big in the UK. Sega won the 16-bit console war here, and that I don't know why I'm watching this again now. But I do know that, like, I know a lot of people who had like the Sega Mega Drive. Me and a lot of my close friends at the time, including that bastard Adam, were all Nintendo people. So I had a Super Nintendo, I had a Game Boy. Then Adam had my Game Boy because he stole it, because he's a fucking prick. He took it to Germany with him.
What a prick.
A rat bastard. Or a rat-a-tat, if you will.
Is he the one that stole that kid's game and sold it to you?
No, that was I was in a different school. I'd left Adam in my past at that point, although apparently not far enough, because I'm still bitter, apparently. I need to catch something that is not going to immediately die when it goes up against a... What's good against rock types? Because I've got Brock coming up.
I do not know. I don't know the things.
Oh, Sandy says, so for us Pokemon noobs, can you briefly explain what makes the different color Pokemon games distinct?
Yes, we can. Do you want to do that? I bet you know it more easily than me.
So each generation of Pokemon games tends to have... they tend to be released as two versions. Usually it's a form of red and a form of blue. And so the first wave of Pokemon games were red and blue, unless you're in Japan, in which case it was red and green. And the idea is that each generation of Pokemon game, they're the same game, but depending on which color you've bought affects which Pokemon you can catch. They don't all have, in this case, the first gen games, there are 151 Pokemon. Red, blue, and yellow do not have the same spread of Pokemon. There are some that you can only catch in red and some that you can only catch in blue, and yellow has kind of like a smorgasbord of Pokemon from both games. So in order to catch them all, as the slogan says, you do have to trade Pokemon with other people to fill up your Pokemon.
Yes, it wasn't as cynical as you might think at first. They weren't asking you to buy multiple copies of the game. You just were supposed to have a friend who had the other one.
Yeah,
and
which
you would
made it
trade
difficult for those of us who didn't have friends.
We didn't have friends, yeah. That must have been difficult. Sorry about that, Ben. But meanwhile, those of us who were just swarming with friends and lovers, yeah, there was no problem at all. Yes, it's a funny thing though. I did set up a little Pokemon ring in my school. All my friends started buying Game Boy Colors just to play Pokemon. We did trade, and we did do that sort of thing. We engaged with it as they wanted for a while. So there were these two different copies of the game, Red and Blue. Except, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it 3 in Japan? Wasn't there a green as well?
Yes, so Japan had red and green, and then because those were immensely popular, they did a special edition called Blue, which had a different selection of Pokemon. Now, when they localized Pokemon for the West and for the rest of the world, we got red and blue, but our version of blue is actually green. It has the same spread of Pokemon from green, but blue was also a special edition. I think had some bug fixes, some changes. So red and blue internationally have the bug fixes from the Japanese blue, but are actually localized versions of red and green. That's why when they did the remakes for the Game Boy Advance, they were fire red and leaf green, because that's what Japan initially got.
Right. And the bug fixes was that, like, Caterpie behavior was improved, that sort of thing.
Yes, sorry. I was going to seriously answer your question and start listing some of the bug fixes, and then I realized what you were doing.
Although I do kind of want to know if you know the bug fix.
I mean, there was just a lot of like exploits that you could do in the Japanese version that you can still actually kind of do in the international releases, because they didn't quite fix it very well. Like, there's a cheat that I think everyone used that gave you infinite of whatever the 6th item in your inventory was. I used that to multiply rare candies and level all my Pokemon up to 100 without having to put in any actual effort or work.
Oh yeah, I don't think I ever knew the cheat, but I remember the existence of it. Yeah, so that's the basic. The games were basically the same, but they just had different Pokemon that would show up in different areas, and so you would trade. So that then if you traded it with a friend, then you had different ones to them, rather than everyone just having millions of Rattatas, because that's what's at the start of the game. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Now that being said, this is different to that. This is Pokemon Yellow, which came out a little bit later. As a reaction.
I think this came out in the rest of the world, the western rest of the world, in, I want to say 2000, because I remember seeing press coverage of this one.
Was it as late as that?
It may well have been.
Certainly, I would have put it in, 99 or something. It was quite, late on.
It might have been 99. I just remember. I mean, I think in the UK it came out later, because we got the UK and Europe in general got Pokemon very, very late, because they had to be translated into French and German and so on.
Yeah, our Pokemon year was like 1998, 9-ish, whereas it came out in 96 originally, didn't it?
I believe so. Yeah, 96, 97.
Anyway, Pokemon Yellow, which is what you're looking at now, was released as a reaction to the fact that the anime had taken off more than the game had.
Yes.
And so, or at least the game had, but kind of in response to the anime. So this was the version that had Pokemon, who you can see there in the frame. Pokemon is front and center all the time. He is your starter Pokemon, your starter Pikachu. Whereas in the original games, there was a choice of 3 different kinds of Pikachu that you could pick between. Of different types.
Yeah.
And the Team Rocket from the cartoon are in it. There is a team called Team Rocket in the original game, but they're not Jesse and James and Meowth. They are like a team. They're a sort of militia or something.
It's kind of vague. They seem to be like an organized criminal syndicate, but without the organization.
John Morgan has pulled out a date, presumably by looking up the fact that it came out on June the 16th, 2000. No, the reason I say it like that is that I'm about to dispute it. And I've good reason to dispute it, and you'll see what I mean in just a moment. So June the 16th, 2000 is apparently the UK release date of Pokemon Yellow. Here's why I dispute that. When I got it for my birthday that time, I brought it in to the 6th form social centre, and we all sat around and we all played it. I was not at that school by June the 16th, 2000. I was at university by then. So, I suppose it's possible that the copy I had was an import. Actually,
it's possible you had an import. It's also possible that the human memory is fallible, and the way that we remember things is we make a Xerox copy of it and then destroy the original. And you're looking at a copy of a copy. There's so much JPEG artifacting on this memory that you've lost the specific details. And what I'm saying is, that's not a memory. You're not a person.
Nothing
you're
is a memory. Yeah, nothing's a memory. Nothing is real. No, yeah, I know all that, but no, I definitely did. We Pokemon Yellow at university because I remember the awkward feeling of being like, this has jumped the shark a little bit. I don't think we need to play this. Let's go back to our existing save file, and we did. Now, by the way, to continue my Pokemon, so let's assume, so presumably my parents who got me that for my birthday, let's imagine they found that. They wouldn't have even known they imported it. They would have found that in a shop, and they would have got it, and it would have been an import. Well, anyway, to continue my Pokemon story, I got really into it, really into it. And I was buying toys and stuff, and I was like, there was an obscure Japanese stuff shop that I found where I found these lovely little finger puppets from the anime that were obviously imported. I've still got some of those. They were very nice. I had a lovely time again in the sixth form social center with my friends. We had a Powerball containing it was a Powerball with a Squirtle in it. And we noticed that after a lot of chucking it against the wall idly as we sat around drinking our coffee and doing sixth form grown-up kids stuff, that little bubbles and cracks were forming around the Squirtle inside the Powerball. So we did the only thing we could do. We took it into an empty room that importantly, no staff ever went in. And we really yacked it at the wall as hard as we could for a whole day in an attempt to get the little Squirtle out. And there was this amazing moment where my friend Chris, I think, really smashed it against the wall and it exploded.
Wow.
There were chunks of Powerball everywhere. And
Free him.
And we freed him. The little Squirtle, which of course, we then had to do a sweep of the whole room. We had to be clambering around under chairs because it was a storage room. There was stacked up chairs. We had to be clambering around to find the little Squirtle. And my friend, Chris again, found the little Squirtle. And oh my god, it turned out. The reason we wanted to get it out is it was the most perfect little Squirtle we'd ever seen. It was better made than any other Squirtle toys that we'd seen.
Okay.
Well, because here's the thing. When you make a toy based on an existing thing, you have to make certain compromises to the design of that thing to make it stand up freely. And so this little Squirtle was like the most accurate Squirtle we'd seen. We weren't looking at other Squirtle toys going, I rise on the size of the leg there. It's just that we were looking at it and we could tell it was a particularly good one. Well, it turned out that it was better than we thought because the rubber of a Powerball actually... it was a full 3D little model in there, not just a picture. It actually magnifies the thing inside. So what came out was this sweet little tiny Squirtle toy. And it's just the most precious little perfect little baby Squirtle toy in the whole wide world. I'll go and see if it's still on my shelf or if we've put it away somewhere. If it's there, I'll show you. But, so during this, Abby... over in Wales.
Sorry, I just saw what Siege Feathers put in the chat.
Well, it's hard to draw a perfect Squirtle.
I remember when I was taking graphic design in high school and Mr. Easy came in one day and he does that one swift motion with his wrist and draws a perfect Squirtle on the whiteboard. Doku
Prime, that wonderful time they asked, who's that Pokemon? And it was a Jigglypuff from above. Just a circle.
Yes, I do remember. I think that was... Didn't they have, like, Ash and Misty and Brock and then also Team Rocket for some reason taking a test at a school? I forget the specifics of it.
Did they?
I believe so.
I can't remember. I just remember them shouting it at us.
I remember... Because I remember seeing that clip a lot because I was in Los Angeles at the time. I was 13. I was here for 3 months living with my dad. And... Kids WB used to show that clip a lot as like a commercial. There's also a clip that Kids WB used to show. Dave's gone. He's good. Goodbye, Dave. Where that was, it was Batman at a karaoke bar singing the Jigglypuff song, and I think they got Kevin Conroy to sing the Jigglypuff theme. I think that's what they did. Time is a fat Squirtle. Oh, Dave, you're muted. We've lost you.
Sorry about that. I muted it because I was going away to get the little Squirtle. Look at this, everyone, and you, Ben.
You've still
got
it.
Look at this lovely... Here he comes. Here's the little Squirtle. Look at the state of this.
Look at that gorgeous fat Squirtle. Time is his name. Time is a fat Squirtle.
Look at him.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Oh, lovely little baby Squirtle. So good.
Did you ever name your fat Squirtle?
No, it's just a Squirtle.
Oh, you appear to have a fan in the chat.
Oh, yeah. Misa X says, just found this channel again after lyrics. Yeah, someone earlier said they always remember the Zelda song, which I do too. I remember it. It's in my, or at least I think I do. My brain has made a facsimile of it. Yes. But am I just remembering the last time I remembered it?
Yes. Yes, you are. I'm glad that we're on the same page there. And now I'm in Pewter City.
Yeah.
Here's a fun fact that everyone knows. All of the cities in Pokemon are named after colours except for Pallet Town, which is Pallet.
That's all of them?
Yes.
That's all the colours?
Yeah.
Does pewter count as a colour?
Yeah, it's a shade of grey.
Yeah, but it's only because it's a kind of metal, right?
I don't know if it's like an orange is named after the colour or a situation, or if the colour is named after the orange. I forget.
I'm fairly sure the colour is named after the metal, but yeah, fair point. Oh God,
we may never know. I need to catch.
Continuing my Pokemon journey, yes. At this time, Abby over in Wales found copies of the mangas that were coming out.
Oh yeah,
the weird ones, the ones they had to censor.
Yes,
and she bought me copies of all of those. We've still got them here somewhere, and they were great. Like they were like nuts, but I don't know. There's something great about them. I remember lying in the bath and reading an extended, like quite a long issue about a fight between the two dragon Pokemon, your Charizard and what was the Dragonite? I think
Dragonite.
The big,
yes,
friendly puppy-looking one. Epic battle between them two. Oh, it was great. And then she found me the first Pokemon Adventures book, which was at the time very rare. Now completely normal and available at any given comic shop in the land. And as it do so happen, I've got right here the collector's edition paperback here of the first 3 volumes, which are the ones I remember being really good. I really, really enjoyed those first 3 books, and I remember them sort of ending in an epic-y kind of ending-y sort of
I want
way.
you to continue this story. I'm not asking you to stop, but I'm going to say to the chat, what should we name our Nidoran? I think this is
what should we name our Nidoran?
I forget which symbol means which gender, which is something that happens when you stop having one. Is that a male or a female Nidoran?
Arrow is male, this is a female one.
Okay, so this is a female.
Is that what happens when you don't have a gender? It erases the knowledge of gender symbols from your brain.
The government comes and takes your symbol away, and when you don't have one to hand, that becomes difficult to remember which one you're supposed to.
Yeah, I said oh no, but that's what you want.
Yeah, I don't want it. I'm not using it. I'll be honest with you, I hadn't been using it for a while. It was just in the closet gathering dust.
Yeah,
but it came out of the closet when I did.
Hey, using it as a coat hanger.
Yes.
Bumsy, bumsy. And then I went to university, and at university I bought Silver. That's when that came out, and I sat and played it quite a lot at the end. That is my Pokemon journey.
That's a good journey.
Oh no, it's not. No, it's not. Abby, I didn't realise this really until just now, but Abby bought me a lot of Pokemon stuff back in the day, and she bought me the album, To Be a Master.
Oh God, yeah. It had like the full-length Pokérap and a bunch of the songs that they'd put a Pokemon karaoke on at the end of the show.
It's got like 4 bangers on it. You've got the theme tune, banger. You've got the Pokérap, banger. You've got To Be a Master, that's a banger. And you've got the Team Rocket's Rocket song.
Yes.
Banger. Rest, actively bad. But it's alright, because those 4 are good. What else was on there? There was the... Oh, no, well... No, not actively bad. Yeah. The rest, among them, some catchy ones, like We're on the Road to Viridian City.
Yes.
That was fun.
We just left Viridian City, so...
Yeah. Super bad one was the one... Really, the low light of the album was the one where they gave Misty a love song about how she was secretly in love with Ash. didn't approve of that.
Yeah, really trying to appeal to the shipper demographic there by just saying, you know all that ship you got. We're just gonna do that. Oh, I can catch. Oh, I named the female Nidoran. I named her Lady, based on the suggestion that Crossay gave us. But now we've got an opportunity to catch a mating pair.
Ah.
Nope, I killed him. Dead. He's stone dead.
Oh dear.
There's a
everyone
trail of Pokemon
read,
from Viridian City to Pewter City.
If you've never read Pokemon Adventures, I heartily recommend it. It is it's about 1 billion books long now, but the first 3 books collected in this volume are the story of the original game, done as a manga, and it's a good one, and it's really well drawn, and it's lovely. So I'm currently rereading it for the first time since the 90s, and it's really nice.
It's I've flicked through that recently. Not your copy, that would be weird. But here we got another boy one.
Oh wow! Oh, Sandy Lester doesn't know about the Pokérap. That's new.
The Pokérap was something that they did for Americans at the end of the anime, where it was basically just a rap that contained the name of every Pokemon in no particular order, except they mentioned Ditto twice.
Do they?
And I think there's one that they left out. It might be the Mew, but there's one.
It's not a rap, really. It's just the names of the Pokemon said in a rhythm, and the rhythm is the basis on which they chose the order. So it's like Electro, Diglett, Nidoran, Mankey, Venusaur, Rattata, Fearow, Pidgey, Seaking, Jolteon, Dragonite, Gatsby, Ponyta, Vaporeon, Poliwrath, Butterfree. Well, I've got a whole verse in there, apparently.
You got more than I have. And the thing is, I don't have it memorized, but listening to you do it, I definitely thought, that's correct.
Well, that's the thing. It must be correct, otherwise I would have hit a point where the words didn't fit.
Yeah.
But it's a bit like that anyway, and it's for a whole song. It's quite a lot of fun. And it was just the end credits tune. No, it wasn't. It was separate, wasn't it? They just used to play it at the end.
Yeah,
and then have the credits.
They would do that for a little bit, and then they did Pokemon Karaoke. I think because the American time slot fell short of what the Japanese time slot was, so they had to pad the episode at the end.
Oh, really? I don't know why, but they played it here, even though it's just the sort of thing you'd think they would cut. Because they always used to cut at the end of cartoons like He-Man and Sonic when you would have a moral bit.
Yeah.
Where the character would speak to the camera about how you shouldn't cross the road dangerously.
Yeah, we never got those in the UK. I didn't know they existed until I started seeing memes and redubs of them on YouTube.
Yeah. Same, I think.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing that they put in to make it pseudo-educational. I'm trying to remember what rock type is weak against, so I can try to catch one. Because when I play Red and Blue, I always pick Squirtle because Squirtle's the best starter, hands down.
Best one. Yeah. Maybe the best Pokemon. I was always fond of its middle stage, just in terms of its design. I always liked its middle stage. I can't remember what it's called now.
Squirtle, Wartortle, Blastoise.
Wartortle, yes, Wartortle. Yes. Not sure about the name, but
watch this
lovely
kid
design.
walk off camera. Where did you go, child?
Whoa!
There's a wall here. Unless you're sneaking through this gap that I can't sneak through. What are you doing?
Rock is weak to fighting, says Toku Prime.
Okay, well, I'm not going to catch a fighting Pokemon between now.
I don't think that's... they might be right in the game, but that's not true in real life. I think Rock is probably one of the things strongest to fighting. Isn't it? Out of everything.
There's
if you were like,
chart.
what out of the things that you're going to fight?
On my other computer, I'm going to search for Pokemon type chart.
If you were like, I'm going to fight, I'm going to punch something, or fight something, and there was a list of things, and some of them were people, some of them were really like hard people, some of them were armed people, and then there was a rock. I think even the big, hard, strong armed people, you have a better chance against than a rock.
Fighting and ground are the types that Rock is weak against, and I don't know that there's anywhere I can catch any of those Pokemon. So I'm just going to fight it.
Toku says, if you go back to the old man before the forest and go west, you can get a Mankey that's good against Rock.
I need Cut for that, though, right? Because there's a tree in the way. I think so.
Just do it then. I mean, the thing is, back when I was playing Pokemon on the Game Boy, I paid no heed to what was weak against what. I just kept fighting, and it's largely fine.
I'll fight this person as kind of a practice run for Brock. Check this. Check out this junior trainer in his shorts.
Yeah. I didn't realize there was such a gender binary in this game. Junior trainer, male. Male, mind you.
There is a in later games there are certain classes of NPC trainer that you can encounter that are organized Why am I'm just using this one move over and over again and it's not doing anything. Okay, I'm gonna die. Sorry, Jeep is going to die. Jeep, our Pokemon.
Our Pokemon.
Who is a Pokemon. And
our Pokemon type Pikachu.
So what I'm doing now is I know that Lady can't win. But Lady's gonna get absolutely shredded by Diglett, who just growled.
Diglett,
because the attacks in the wrong order.
Diglett is a single whack attack.
Yes.
Thing, whatever they were called in that.
Like the whack-a-mole kind of situation.
Yeah, the home whack attack, the home whack-a-mole playset.
I have no memory of that at all.
Well, imagine some Diglets in your living room and a little speaker camera, and that was pretty much it.
Well, I died. And I lost half my money. I
forgot you lose your money.
Pikachu is mildly annoyed that I let him die. Which, in fairness, that's how I would feel.
Now that stuff there, that close-up of a cross-looking Pokemon there, that's new, that's only in yellow. And in fact, I think, is he saying Pikachu with a voice sample?
He is, yeah, they've got the sample kind of filtered through the 4 sound channels to kind of make it sound vaguely like there's an actual voice. Which a very few Game Boy games did. The Game Boy Color actually had a couple of games that had FMV sequences with full sound. Cannon Fodder on the Game Boy Color has an open FMV sequence. Was an opening video sequence with full audio that doesn't play very well on a Game Boy Advance, but does play quite well on the on an actual Game Boy Color. I don't want to use a potion. I wanted to use this Pokeball.
I dug out my Game Boy Color recently and have done nothing with it because what would I do with it?
Cry, weep openly.
Yeah. For out of a combination of nostalgia for days gone by and abject frustration at the lack of a backlight.
It wasn't the last Game Boy without a backlight, but it was one of the last ones. What are we naming our male Nidoran? I'm thinking Neil, but I want to know what the chat thinks.
Okay, chat. Give us a Nidoran name.
Neil Doran. That's my pitch, but I want to see what the chat says. Oh yeah, Lady learns double kick. I have to if I can train up Lady. Lady has some. Are we naming this one Gent to go with Lady? I think Gent might be in there.
Yes.
Let's do that. Let's make them a couple. Alright, so let me go into my Pokemon list. And let me put Lady at the top so I can train her up a bit. But I will take them to the Pokemon Center first. We've gone with Jen. Neil Doran, I think, was great, but we are going to attempt to mate this couple. Except you can't mate in the first gen games. You've got to do that in Gold and Silver onwards.
Yeah, you can imagine it though. You can pretend that happens. Can you even do it in Gold and Silver? I thought it was
Yeah, Gold and Silver, you drop them off at a daycare, and then when you come back, there is a egg.
That is always a risk.
Yeah. Or you leave one Pokemon and a Ditto. Which is not a joke. You can breed Ditto with pretty much any Pokemon, and you get a Pidgey. I'm gonna see if I can.
Now the thing about Pokemon, the original Pokemon, including this version, is that it lacks some real quality of life improvements that they made in the sequel generation, Gold and Silver. Specifically, in Gold and Silver, if we were fighting this Pidgey now, there would either be or not be a little Pokeball symbol next to it.
Yeah.
And that would tell you
If
whether
you've
you
caught it or
owned
not.
one or
Yeah.
not. Yeah. Back in the Gen 1 days, what we used to have to do, and this is what me and my A-level friends, and if you don't know, by the way, A-level is what you do in the UK when you are 16 to 18 years old. We were like grown-up kids, like almost adults. 17, 18 years old, sitting around in a especially like an area that was given only to the sixth formers. You weren't allowed to go in there at that heady old age. And there was coffee in there, there was comfy chairs, little tables to put your feet up on. I mean, you weren't supposed to, but we did. And, you know, a special little area for us to sit around and socialize and be, you know, have a little taste of the university experience, you might say. And what we were doing with it was we were sitting around with Game Boy Colors in our hands and on our laps, open, yeah, I guess they were game guides, but we didn't buy them because we needed help playing the game. It wasn't for that reason. It was because they had a checklist in the first pages of all the Pokemon, and you just ticked off if you'd got that one or not. And that was necessary in those days. You had to keep a separate, on-paper account of which ones you had and had not collected. Otherwise,
there's something kind of magical about that, isn't there? Like having a paper document, like having basically what is your own Pokedex.
Yeah. And you had to have that, and we all did. I've probably still got mine upstairs in the attic, you know. And yeah, we had those open at all times, carried with us at all times at school. 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, Pokemon guidebooks in our school bags with us at all times.
Good times. Yeah, that was the only reason I bought the official guide for Red and Blue, was so I had something I could keep track of my my Pokemon in. I can't afford to buy potions.
Now that I think about it, we could have just written them down.
But yeah, we just on any old list. But it's also nice to be able to have a list you can check them off.
And they had big pictures of. They had the lovely original painted artwork for the game for the different Pokemon was there, quite large, except for the ones where there weren't any paintings of them, and then it just like blew up the either the clip art or sprite or something. They compromised in some way.
I remember kind of similarly, I had the Brady Games guide for Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, which did have on the back pages had a checkbox for each of the gravestones in the crypt that you had unlocked. So you could check off, I've got that one.
Mickey Key says, I know you from Brental Floss. Yes, that's right. I was... I'm not even a hairy man now because it's many years on. It's literally just that I've grown facial hair for a video I'm making. And that video... Well, you'll be interested to see it, put it that way, if you know me.
It's about beards.
About beards. So keep an eye on this channel, and you'll see a video soon that you personally will be interested to see, I promise. Yes, I am that Dave from that.
I'm nobody from nothing.
Yeah, you are. He's from Portscenter, and you should be watching it. It's real good.
It's I haven't made an episode of Portscenter in two years.
That's true. It's a point of contention that I have with you, to be honest.
Yeah, there's other stuff I want to make, and then I do have a list of games that I want to do for Portscenter. Like there's the port of Toy Story Racer on the Game Boy Color, which is in full 3D because rather they have the video. Sorry, the courses are looping FMV of the course. Oh my god!
It's pretty technically impressive.
Wow,
yeah.
It's on my list.
Oh, wow.
It's just a case of, do I want to keep doing this? I stopped doing Portscenter because it stopped being fun to do, but every now and then I think about a game I'd like to talk about, and I think I might go back to this at some point.
Well, exactly. You can't do it if you're not into it.
Yeah.
But if you fancy it, then do, because I'll be watching for one. But we've all had a time, haven't we? You've hell of a time in the last couple of years. So it's like
if you look at the Portscenter video, the last Portscenter videos I made from like 2016, 2017, I'm very thin. And there are a lot of people like, oh, Ben, wow, you've lost so much weight. No, that was a bad time. I had a breakdown in 2015 and stopped eating, and I put on weight again, which I think I put on a little more weight than I would like to have. I don't want to be that skinny ever again, but also, John says, Ben handled my Loot Crate support ticket once and it blew my mind in the same way seeing your teacher outside of school blew your mind as a kid. Yeah, I used to work support at Loot Crate for a while. Yeah, I was there for about, 8 months? I forget.
Do you know, I've got the... I don't know if this is going to come up because I don't know if this is how it works, but if it does, this will be very interesting. A guy that we know, his job is to call people to tell them they can have the vaccine and arrange the time. Wouldn't that be fun if that's the call that I got from someone I actually knew? Because I'm on the vulnerable list, so theoretically, in the next few months, I should get that call. But I don't know.
And it's Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is making those calls.
That's right. That's my friend Tom Hanks.
You get to call him Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy Hanks. It's Tom Hanks or Tommy Hanks for long, which is what his friends call him. Yes, I've been friends with Tom Hanks ever since
Toy Story.
I met him on the set of Splash. No, I've known him since before Splash. Toy Story. I've known him since Splash, I think.
I just like the idea that there was a set for Toy Story. That's the thing for me.
I knew him I knew him when we met in Splash, and then I knew him when we met in Big, and then I knew him when we met in The Burbs when that was on TV. But I met him, and then when I met him on the set of Toy Story, I was like, oh yeah, this is good. Yeah. Oh, that's a good casting decision for this cowboy. That's cool. I've just realised I'm just thinking of when I saw things on TV. Sorry, I don't know Tom Hanks at all.
No, you don't know Tom. I like the idea of Tom Hanks signing all of his emails with just his first initial and his last name with no space, and people thinking he's just very polite.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Thanks.
Well, do you remember... I don't know if you saw this or not. I don't know if it's the case of... There was a thing where the McDonald's bins used to say thanks on them. So someone put a dot in and then posted a little picture of Tom Hanks on it.
I remember that.
It was nice, wasn't it? I think I've got that saved somewhere.
All of the bins at Disneyland here in sunny, slightly wet California right now say waste please, which I always felt like was just the most polite way to tell someone to drop dead.
That's an odd one because... And I know contextually that this isn't what they're saying, but that to me sounds like an invitation to defecate into that bin. Like that... When you say waste, that's what springs to mind to me. Yeah,
it's poop.
Yeah.
Or what we call in England, we just call it poo, because we're efficient.
The Americans have decided on a much longer way round.
Yeah. Well,
for that.
Well, they got that big government surplus of peas, so they need to put them to use. That's why going for a wee is called going for a pea over here.
Going for a pea, they have to use all their peas up, but they have to use them for very mild.
Yeah, it's like the corn subsidy, but specifically for the letter P.
Yeah. Or like the time, and I just found this out recently. Do you remember in around 2010? I've the sneaky feeling I already said this previous episode of this, but around 2010-ish to 2015, I don't know, sometime then. No, well, anyway, yeah, sometime then. Americans just got really obsessed with bacon. It might even have been 2000 to 2010.
It was definitely like an aughts thing.
Yeah, and it was thought of as like the meme was that bacon was like everyone acknowledged it was the nicest food there was in the world, and also it was kind of a joke to mention bacon.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that this was literally a marketing campaign. That someone just thought it would be good if they started people on the internet saying that bacon is the best food, and it's because they had manufactured too much bacon.
Yeah.
Wild. I wish I knew how they did it. Like, how do you spread, especially back then, a meme like that? I don't know.
You have to beam them directly into people's dreams. I think is
Yeah.
the acceptable technique.
No, it is. You can tell that's the acceptable technique because all the words in it rhyme.
Yeah.
You beam the meme into the dream.
Yeah.
That was how you can tell it works.
If it doesn't rhyme, you can't do it, which itself shouldn't work because that doesn't rhyme as a sentence. But
No, but very little does rhyme with rhyme.
time, crime,
It's
rhyme.
rhyme and crime, but that's the thing. You know, that's been done. There's a very famous time crime based aphorism. So it's difficult to come up with a new one without, kind of just calling back to that one.
Bacon. I do remember there was a time over here where you could get like bacon flavored mayonnaise and bacon salt and bacon. Bacon shower gel. I remember being a thing you could get on Amazon for a while.
Toothpaste.
I don't know. I kind of hope there was a little bit, not because I want to try, but because I like the idea of seeing. I know someone who very much bought into the whole bacon is great thing and had bacon salt and had bacon mayonnaise. This is how I know these things exist because he bought them. Harrowing.
I'm fairly convinced that I know that there was bacon flavored toothpaste. I'm pretty sure that was a real thing. I don't want that. That's not bacon isn't nice enough for that. It's all right. It's all right.
I need bacon toothpaste to not be a thing. I need that.
No, well, I don't know if it's still a thing.
I need it to not have been a thing. Someone Google it and then make me weep openly. Mickey Husky is just rhyming with rhyme now.
Yeah.
Sublime, Prime. If you've a subscription to Amazon Prime, you're helping Jeff Bezos, and that is a crime. Boom.
Yeah. Yes, I'm afraid. I'm so sorry, but bacon flavored toothpaste appears to be extremely widely available.
Nightmare.
Although the top result that comes up on Google is something called Marvis Special Edition Black Forest toothpaste, which that does not imply that it's bacon flavor. I don't know why it's.
I on the subject of Black Forest, there's a wonderful tweet that did the rounds a couple of weeks ago. That was it was a DM in a D&D campaign saying, "And the elves come from the Black Forest," and underneath it says, "Me. That's where my ham comes from."
So is Black Forest a ham brand or something? Is that why that makes sense?
Black Forest ham is a type of ham you can get here. In America? It's just Black Forest ham.
Well, you see, to me, the word Black Forest means cherry cake.
Yeah,
I
I think gatto. Yeah, and Mandy just came home. You got me pie?
A Black Forest pie?
Is it a Black Forest pie? We're talking about Black Forest ham, which apparently I don't remember this, but apparently Black Forest ham doesn't exist in the UK. We just
it might do. I don't know it.
We have Black Forest gatto and Black Forest pies and whatever.
Gatto. I'm fairly sure gatto is just a different word for cake. I don't know if there's an actual difference.
Cake pie. I've decided gatto is the better word. Gatto. It's French for cat pie. What? No.
It's probably French for cake, isn't it?
It could be.
We're back to calling animes cartoon and calling gattos cake.
Yeah. We did. Mandy missed this. Mandy being very much an anime person, missed the
looks quite
anime
realistic
cartoons. I need to go. I have to leave suddenly. I can't. The anime is cartoons. Mandy agrees.
Hooray!
There might be a pie situation about to happen. I say it might be.
You can have the pie later.
The pie is absolutely going to happen later. I'm very excited. I am. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm very disappointed in the Black Forest toothpaste that I've found. I've investigated what it is. Here's what it is: a cherry and chocolate flavored toothpaste. Now, this is not the point at which I'm disappointed, because I went through a phase. Well, no, it wasn't a phase because I'm still in it, and it started about 5 or 6 years ago. And in it, I decided that I was done with mint flavored toothpaste. Just done with it. I was like, why have we all decided that mint is the flavor that means clean, when that's a completely arbitrary decision and it spoils other flavors.
Yeah.
If I've cleaned my teeth in the morning, I can't then have anything else with a flavor. I can't consume any food or drink that has a flavor until like long after lunchtime. Like it ruins most of my day.
I actually have a theory as to why chocolate breakfast cereals exist. And it's not just, well, kids like chocolate and we can make money by selling to kids. I think that chocolate is the only flavor which is enhanced by the presence of mint. So it's if you're the type of person who brushes your teeth before you have breakfast, chocolate-based breakfast goods like a pan au chocolat or Cocoa Pops or what have you, that's the only thing that's going to be enhanced by the presence of the mint.
God, you're right. You might be a genius.
Oh, well, that's a harsh word. Genius. I don't think it applies to me. I'm more what you'd call a super brain.
Well, you can't say that. Warner Brothers will get me.
That's true.
Wait, was that on?
No, that was before, and we can't talk. I officially don't have that information, so that's not something we can discuss publicly.
Okie dokie then.
But
cut that bit out.
Warner Brothers. No, it's fine. We can do that. It's a live stream. We've said it. But yeah, my brain is pretty super, which I do think Warner Brothers would have a kind of legal interest in.
They might. Here's where I'm disappointed in the toothpaste. So at this point, I'm excited, right? Cherry and chocolate flavored toothpaste, just what I'm looking for. Now, for the record, by the way, I went with Arm and Hammer, who do a baking soda flavored toothpaste, and that changed my life. I've never wanted mint again, ever again. It's fantastic. Anyway, back to the story.
Yes.
This toothpaste is chocolate and cherry and mint flavor. Ah, they just fell off at the final hurdle, didn't they? That's what you do with hurdles when you get them wrong. You fall off.
Chocolate and mint.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, but mint and cherry, that seems untested.
I mean, you have to hope that someone did some testing, because otherwise, why are they selling it?
Yeah. Now I'm a very big fan of cherry as a flavor. I would try cherry flavored toothpaste, definitely. I think that would be nice.
But they've added the mint factor to it, which kind of negates the entire purpose of your.
It does.
Exploratorium, I think, is the word I'm going to use, despite the fact I don't think it's real.
I mean, hey, it's real now. Oh, by the way, anyone watching, what we're playing here is a slightly enhanced version, because it wouldn't have had these colours originally, would it?
Oh well, here's the thing. So Red and Blue were not Game Boy Color games,
No.
but they did have enhanced color palettes if you played them on a Super Game Boy. When Pokemon Yellow was released, they just gave the Game Boy Color access to those Super Game Boy Color palettes. So if you played Pokemon Yellow on a Game Boy Color, you got these colors. But they are the exact same colors you would have got if you had played Pokemon Red or Blue on a Super Game Boy.
Okay. Yeah, and one of the things I'm noticing is that different areas, as you go up there, it changes colour.
Yeah.
There you go.
Pewter City is pewter.
Oh, I see. Well, yeah, that's hardly very exciting, is it? Because those was before there was any colour in hand. But yes, I see the point.
What are my levels with all the Pokemon? I'd forgotten. I'm so used to just coming into Pewter City and just shredding through Brock with my water type that I forgot what a grind it would be to get any Pokemon up to the level where they can defeat Brock with weapons.
Yes.
I'm realizing now I'm stuck in this kind of cycle of tedium.
This is the problem with honestly, this is the problem with Pokemon Ultimate, where it always cuts short any playthrough that I have, which is that the thing that makes it that generates the obsession that we all had playing it in those days, and we were the grown-ups were really complaining about how locked onto our Game Boy Colors we were at the time.
Yeah.
And in fact, one of the canny things about the design of it was that it was playable with one hand. And I don't know if that I can't now remember if that was because everything was oriented on one side, or if you could just stretch your thumb or whatever. But we did play it. We walked around with one hand.
The Game Boy Pocket and the Game Boy Color is kind of it's small enough that you couldn't do that with a chunky Game Boy, but you could do that with a Pocket or a Color.
Yes. And then I think there was a future generation, perhaps the Game Boy Color ones, maybe the DS ones, where you 100% could just play it with one hand. They used the trigger button to let you
Yes,
do that.
that would be the advanced ones because you can map the L button to the accept.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember. I was just starting to say something then. Never mind. Let's see what's going on in the chat.
Jeremy says, you're supposed to brush your teeth after breakfast because you want to minimize the time in which your teeth are dirty. The longer your teeth are dirty, the higher the risk of tooth rot.
Sure. And the best way to do it is to clean your teeth after every time you eat, but that is a bit much.
You also run the risk of eroding the enamel on your teeth if you brush your teeth too much, or too long, or too frequently.
I've started to do that because, I don't know.
Or too close after eating, says Mandy.
Yeah, yes, I understand it's something to do with, like, the acids and sugar and things are sort of like, they're there's something about them. When they're new, they're going to eat through your teeth if you clean your teeth then, and something like that. I've been told by my dentist that I have started to clean my teeth too efficiently, and I'm starting my way through the enamel, so I don't know. But she says don't do anything about that because you're doing it right. Just, I don't know. I've just got to tell you. I was like, all right, great. She's gonna have to, if it gets too bad, she's gonna have to paint some fake enamel on there or something.
You can just dip them in enamel and let them set overnight.
Yeah, that's what I'm probably gonna do. Maybe not even enamel. I might do it with jelly or anything.
Really, if you're gonna do that, you just steel. Do the Wolverine thing, but just on the teeth. Coat them in adamantium.
Yeah.
Think about the things you'll be able to chomp through with your adamantium teeth.
Yeah, I might just. I mean, I haven't got any. I haven't really got access to any adamantium, but I could put some. I could chomp on some cling foil. Cling foil, tin foil.
Cling foil.
Cling foil.
Cling foil. It's foil.
Are you sick of having two separate rolls of something in the kitchen? Well, here's cling foil, and look out for cling foil kitchen roll coming soon.
And the amazing sequel, Cling Foil 2. Cling Foil somehow Cling Foil sounds like the name of a henchman from a James Bond movie, and I'm not entirely sure why. Why? Chat is just about toothpaste now. You've set them off on a dental hygiene. We should just do that. Maybe we can get some kind of sponsorship from the American government, from like
that'd be great.
The Board of Dental etc. or whatever it's called. We go the Saturday morning cartoon route where we play a game based on a Saturday morning cartoon, but then talk about like oral hygiene.
Yeah, I think we could do that. Okay, well, you look into that, see if you can get the government on board. And
I've just got the text message.
Oh, good.
It's from government.
The government. Yep.
They say no. It's just a text. It just says no, lowercase, no punctuation. That's disappointing.
It is, but it's nice that they're watching.
Yeah, that's.
I suppose it's not, is it? It's not. It's not good that they're watching.
but I'm in America. They're gonna be watching. It's
we know they're watching. It's just not good to have it acknowledged like that.
NSA is the National Stream Association. They just watch everybody's YouTube and Twitch channels. They used to watch Mixer, and then
yeah.
Imagine how many people.
And before that, if you go all the way back to the roots of the group, they used to just watch streams of water in little channels in the woods.
Those were the days. It was a simpler time.
It was. I think they should go back to that. Like, there's no reason they should waste their time watching this when they could be in the woods watching streams. That's lovely. And the same goes for anyone watching to a wood with a stream in it. Go there, watch that.
Siege Feathers is trying to get a chant going in the chat.
Yeah, teeth. I, under no circumstances anymore am I able to think about either teeth or dentists without, in my head, teeth. That's a real problem. Oh, I know what I was saying before. I was saying that, yes, the trouble is that all of the intrigue and obsession with Pokemon came from the fact of all the different little monsters, the fact that they were nicely designed, the zeitgeistiness of it, honestly, the social aspect of it, but and the fact that there was a cartoon to watch and you were kind of playing it and you were on this quest and then you started having to grind like Ben is doing now. And yes, for a while there was a certain amount of interest in that. but it quickly bled away, and ultimately that was why I've never completed a Pokemon game. I've never made it all the way through to the last gym and fought them and won, because I just couldn't bear it. Like, you have to do so much grinding, and yes, it really makes you step back and realize that they're not very good, are they?
They're not great.
But they're very good at what they are, which is almost like having a little job to do. It was a little bit like the forklift truck bit in Shenmue. It's like the game has given you a job to do, and the people in its world trust you to do it, and you're like, yeah, go on then. And you would go around in your daily life happily doing this job. And you would. This is why we were playing it with one hand. We were getting on with our lives while we played Pokemon, because it was just what you sort of did. And
can you play Animal Crossing one-handed?
I don't know, but that's a similar thing. That Animal Crossing is kind of a modern equivalent of that. Stardew Valley and things like that. And it, and before there was Tamagotchis and that sort of thing. But
I must have told you about the discount tat store Tamagotchi knockoff that I got from my mum.
You may have done, but I don't form memories anymore. So tell me again.
So it was just a virtual pet, but it was like a 7-in-1. So you got to pick what you wanted, whether it was a bat or a cat or a dog or just a man. I think one of them was just man. And the thing about this thing is, it would live for a maximum of 7 days, and then no matter how well you treated it, it died. And I think that's because that's just the maximum amount of memory this cheap piece of shit had. The end.
Do you know... Siege says, dig and let dig. I was certainly... I don't know if it was you. I was told about something like that by someone or read a thread about it, and they were obsessed with the man. The man was really weird and odd-looking and maybe had a big nose or something, and it was just very creepy to them that they were raising this man.
There's no reason for there to be a man Tamagotchi. A Tamangotchi, if you will.
No, I won't.
Well, don't. Then.
I'm sorry, but I won't, and you're going to have to come up with something better.
I'll do my best, but I can't make any promises. I think I'm about to kill this Sandshrew.
All right. Wait, why are you killing so many Pokemon? Why aren't you catching them?
Because I'm trying to level up Lady so that Lady gets whatever move it is that I need to defeat Brock.
Oh.
And I'm doing alright. I think I need to get Lady to level 12 to learn that fighting move.
Okay.
Obviously, this is captivating you.
This is the problem. It's not very interesting to watch, is it, Pokemon? I'd be surprised if anybody watches Pokemon like Let's Plays for fun.
I think Twitch Plays Pokemon was probably the height of...
Yes.
Also speedruns where they absolutely just break the game.
That's interesting in a way, yeah. In a way, it's an admission that it's not itself visually arresting under ordinary circumstances.
Although the newer ones are quite interesting. I don't know if you've played Sword and Shield, but I got into Sword in a way that I hadn't gotten into a Pokemon game in quite a long time.
I haven't played Sword and Shield, and I'll tell you exactly why I haven't. It's because...
I don't want to.
I don't want to. No, the previous... What was it? The last Pokemon game that we got, which I think was the one on the 3DS, I was like, oh, cool, we've got the new Pokemon game. I'll play the new Pokemon game. And Abby was playing it for a while, and then I was like, oh, I'll have a go. And I realized that you can't. Pokemon games do not allow you, or at least didn't then, to have more than one saved game per physical copy of the game. And that was outrageous, to the point where it just soured me on the whole concept of playing it, and I didn't. Yeah. Well, because I couldn't. I would have had to buy it again, which, like, no, get lost.
Well, Sword and Shield, I believe, because the Switch does have multiple profiles, I think it does let you have... Yeah, so you can, with Sword and Shield... In fact, I have a copy of Shield here that I'm supposed to be mailing to my nephew. You can do that with Sword and Shield.
Yes. So I did. So we got Sword and Shield for Christmas. You know, the last time there was Christmas, and on the way, I think home or in the car or something like that. Yes, I played some of it on my profile, but unfortunately, that sour taste has remained ever since
interesting.
that time. It seems to be a big hang-up I have. It happened again sometime in 2019 when I got into Elite Dangerous. And Abby was all excited about that, and she wanted to play Elite Dangerous, and it turns out you can't. She couldn't have another save file in Elite Dangerous without... Well, the equivalent of saying without buying the game again. But you can't even buy the game again unless you're prepared to set up a new separate Steam account specially for it or what have you. Which is just it's just a step too far. There's just too many hurdles. Having to log in and out all the time. And so I got very cross with it. And I now have 2 copies of the game because it was one of those free Epic games. And I suspect that means, unless we would have to have... Unless there's another complication at the user account level, I don't know. But that probably means that me and Abby could now play separate games. But I've simply never touched it again because it really has soured me. It's such a... It's difficult to talk about without spitting out the sort of phrases that unpleasant gamers might say. But, like, it is anti-consumer. Yeah. It is. And a better way for me to say that would be, like, it's just a big middle finger up to me, made by the people who want me to play their game. And I'm like, well, then I won't. I
kind of get it when it comes to the Game Boy and the DS and 3DS Pokemon games. I get it because there's so much data for Pokemon
you have to
save.
Store all the...
But so in a way... especially as they've added more Pokemon, like you've got a limited amount of save data, and they probably had to work very hard to kind of compress the save data down into it. But with the Switch stuff, you have your own profile. Sod it. Double kick! Finally, we're there. We did it. We got double kick. I'm gonna beat the shit out of Brock.
So there's absolutely nothing. Nothing is physically stopping me from playing the game. It's just that psychic hit that I'd taken from a couple of generations beforehand. Also, the fact that I didn't really enjoy the go on it, but then it's difficult to tell if that's just because I was playing the Nintendo tutorial section.
Oh, the tutorial sections are always the worst sections.
Always quite frustrating and sort of babyish and not very good.
There's a problem I have with a lot of RPGs, and it's more apparent with MMOs now. Like, it's the reason I don't play. I couldn't get into the Old Republic. Is I'm playing the exact same story as literally everyone else on the server, and I don't want to be playing the exact same story. I want to be doing my story, which is kind of why I love Minecraft. But I love Minecraft because I don't play Minecraft. I generate a world, and then I just go for a walk. Like, that's my process. But there's something about the opening tutorial missions in the Old Republic where I think, well, hang on, everyone else who's also chosen to play as this type of character has gone through this exact tutorial. And I don't feel like I'm a part of this world. I feel like I'm one of 100,000 other people who are also part of this world playing as the same type of character.
Yeah. I know what you mean by that, yeah.
It is a nonsense frustration. So Brock is wearing his anime outfit on this one, as opposed to being shirtless, which he was on Red and Blue before. I'm going to double kick this Geodude into the sun. Oh, apparently not very well. Oh, no! It's a double kick, so I can do it 2 times.
I'm going to just disappear for a moment and come immediately back, and then I'll explain why, and it's very silly. I'll tell you now, because otherwise that will create an amount of suspense that it isn't justified by what it is. All it is that I accidentally squashed a little fly about an hour ago, and I've been sitting here with my hand hovering in the air, knowing that it had a dead fly on it, and I'm just going to wash my hand.
I shouldn't laugh, but I think that's the most on-brand thing I've ever heard you do. Just sitting there with a fly off camera, like a butler's tray. I'm gonna kill Onyx now. I'm gonna double kick Onyx into the sun. Let's do it. Oh, I might not get to. I might die instead. It really could go either way. Let's see what's going on in the chat. I like to watch Pokemon Let's Plays if they're good. I think Nuzlocke runs are interesting. We watched... God, was it a year ago we watched Griffin's Nuzlocke run of... Was it XY? That was fun. I thought about doing Nuzlocke runs, but then I remember how tedious they are in terms of the rule set. That's probably the only way to make a stream interesting is where you're playing it with a certain set of rules, like a Nuzlocke run. And even then, you have to edit the run down to something that is, you know, interesting to look at with human eyes. Because we weren't watching a live stream of Griffin doing the Nuzlocke run, we were watching edited highlights. Because that's the only way, I think, to consume Pokemon online. And I realize I'm saying that as I'm doing a live stream with Dave, where we're playing Pokemons. You're muted.
That's true, but the difference is we've never claimed to be entertaining in any way.
Yes, I think that's the one thing that we can guarantee with this stream is that we are not making any effort to be entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the only,
There we go.
promise we can keep.
Hands now. Lovely clean hands now.
Oh, nice. No fly.
Yes, and you'll see there that I've had to apologise because earlier Sandy Lester made reference to something that I thought we'd said some half an hour previously, and I said like, "Oh, you may need to refresh your stream," talking there about enjoying watching Let's Plays. That was a very long time ago, so I suspect the stream is what has a very long delay. So sorry to anybody if we seem to take ages to respond.
I'm watching the stream. I have the stream muted, and on the stream now, as I'm doing this, I'm watching our Pokemon trainer get the TM off of Brock after defeating him. So the delay is about a minute.
Oh, right. So okay,
It's not that bad.
then I take back my taking of it back, and now I'm just confused as to why both Sandy and Nixiter are replying to things we said absolutely ages ago. That must just be something they like to do.
It could just be... YouTube's very inconsistent. It seems like whenever I Twitch on stream... Nope. Whenever I stream on Twitch, I have a really good connection, and my delay is maybe 10 seconds. But when I stream on YouTube, I notice the delay is a lot bigger, and it's also more variable. It's difficult to kind of have a shared experience on YouTube, because I think people are getting different stream speeds. YouTube is not necessarily great for video game streaming.
No.
Which might be why they quietly killed YouTube gaming.
Ah, maybe.
Let's see. I'm going to switch Pokemon. We've got to make our way to Mount Moon now. Jeep, our Pokemon, our Pikachu Pokemon.
I must say, it's a shame that I also apparently missed you fighting Brock at all.
You got up to dispose of a corpse, and when you came back, I was victorious.
Yeah. No, the corpse was already disposed of. I'd already... I used the age-old technique of going, wondering what to do about it, and simply reaching into the nearby bin, and just wiping it off on whatever tissue was nearest the top. And then, of course, that only added to the problem. I was now doubly aware that it was time to go and wash my hand. So that's what I did.
G in garage, or G in garage, depending on whether or not you're Mo Sislak from The Simpsons, said, "Hi Dave, you probably get this a lot, but I didn't know you grew a beard. It looks good." And it does look good.
You now know. Now you know. Yeah, no, it's not exactly what I would describe as a... Well, I was going to say a real beard, but it is a real beard. It's not fake or anything. It's just that I haven't grown it because one day I decided to have a beard, any more than I decided to have all this hair. No, the hair is the result of a year of lockdown, and because I'm on the vulnerable list, so even when there wasn't actual lockdowns on, I wasn't able to go anywhere. So I haven't had a haircut since March. And the beard is because I'm about to make a video about that, or at least in which I mention that and make a bit of a joke about it. And so I thought it would be funniest if I looked more haggard than usual. And so it's
pronounced Hagrid.
Shave.
The character's name is Hagrid.
More Hagrid than usual. And so I've just allowed my face to grow its hair. So soon I'll be making, and that's why I haven't even trimmed it. Like it's too long. It goes over my mouth. It goes to like there. That's disgusting. And it's all over my neck. I have a big neck. Disgusting. But I will be fixing both of those problems with it after I've recorded the initial haggard-looking bit of the video I'm growing it all for. Then I get to trim it down, make it neat, do the rest of the video, and then I get to get rid of it. If I choose to get rid of it, but then I'll look weird because then I'll have no hair on my face, but I'll still have this hair, which I think the two kind of go together in a way. I think I'll look weird.
Right now, you look like a photo of someone's uncle that the kid has found.
Yes.
In a box somewhere, but this is from a time long in the past where the uncle has way too much hair compared to how they are now. And I think that might just be a me specific thing.
No, that's fairly universal. I look like any given dad from about 1978.
Yes. Or what you need is you need a collared shirt. You need a solid jumper in one solid color, and then kind of pants that kind of flare off at the bottom, obscuring a pair of brown shoes.
Well, I can't do the below the waist stuff, but if I undo my collar here and I put on a jumper, then we'll have created that effect.
You'd have
Shall
created
I do that?
that effect. I think absolutely you should. I think this is scientific science at work here. I think this is what people
Scientific science.
Scientific
That's
science.
the best sort of science.
As opposed to whatever it is Americans do with their science.
Yeah, that's religious science.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
go and do that. This here in the background with a hairdryer on top of it is just such a jumper. I don't know if you guys can see that on the stream or if it's
it's
cut
just
off.
under the E on serial ports.
Ah, right. Okay. Well, trust me, it's there, and I'm about to get it, and I'm about to wear it, and then I'll be in full 1979 dad mode.
Nothing but the most exciting things happen on serial ports. We're playing a Pokemon game and wearing a jumper.
I'm about to put on a jumper.
Dave, they're about to look like everyone's dad from about 6 to 12 months before they were born. It's an exciting time. Hockey dad, says Gene Garage. I don't think Dave can hear us. Oh, he can hear us. We just can't hear him. But he's put, ladies and gentlemen, he's putting on the sweater as I've killed a Caterpie. We are witnessing internet history here. A world first. I can see it now in the background. It is starting to come together. What we need to do now is you need to get an old Polaroid camera and take a picture as you're holding a cereal box with an old design that isn't in print anymore. That's what needs to happen.
And here we are.
Yes.
Here I am. No, I don't have a cereal box. And it's a shame because in all photographs of dads from 1979, they were all holding the contemporary cereal boxes of the time.
Yes.
That was how the cameras worked. They used to use it for white balance.
Yeah.
But no, I don't have that. I mean, I suppose. Well, no, I ought to get a modern, because then this will become one of those photos that can then be referenced by future generations. So I'll just go and do that now.
Yeah, I do. By the way, before you do, I do like the two collars effect. I think that actually, it's like going Back to the Future Part 2, all the people in the future are wearing two neckties.
Yeah, this is something I didn't bear in mind when I was selecting the jumper to put on, that it does have its own collar and is therefore incompatible, and also it's slightly askew from the existing one. So yeah, there's simply nothing I can do about that.
That's fine. We can just have. Well, yeah, back in 2006, everyone had two collars.
Yeah.
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 Perfect.
And they do now here in 2020, because by definitionally, I am creating one of those photos right now. So if I get as soon as I go and get a box of cereal, this configuration of colours will be what we're wearing.
What I might do when you come back is I might switch to the full screen webcam view so that people can print screen it and just have access to it, and then they can refer back to it in 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, they should do. Okay, hold on then.
Everybody's dad was a weird Everybody's Golf spin-off. Yeah, I'm down for it. I might do that when Dave gets back. I'll take a screenshot and replace the... Oh, is it cornflakes? Is that the... It is, isn't it? It's properly... Okay, here we... I'm going to go to... Okay, so we're just going to switch to the webcams for a minute so we can really soak in this experience. I'll go back. We'll come back to the game. The game is paused.
Now, unfortunately, this is going to burst the bubble on an illusion that I've been relying on for serial ports, which is that I'm an incredibly small person. But the sense of scale here is about to kill the illusion that I'm a normal size. So here is a box of cornflakes. Which I'm holding.
I'll tell you the embarrassing thing. It's one of those like small, like one portion size boxes.
Yes, it's from a multi-pack. And
Yes.
cover
Yes.
that up.
There
Cover
we
that
go.
up. It's a
There we
small
go.
box.
I mean,
of
it
cornflakes.
is cropped. I don't know if you can see on the screen, but it is kind of.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, they.
Yeah, you're fine.
Great.
Yeah.
Good.
And the 1 kg just means 1 Kellogg. You get 1 flake in there.
One
That's
Kellogg,
what,
there's a cornflake in it. Yeah.
Now, what you need to do now is you need to look slightly off camera with your mouth slightly open, kind of like you're mid-sentence.
Well, I was doing that when you described it because
Yeah.
I was looking at my screen and for whatever reason my jaw was.
Yeah. So this is everyone's dad 6 to 8 months before they were born. This is the photo everyone has. I have a photo of my dad like this somewhere. And I think it is kind of a universal. You actually do look quite a lot like my Uncle Colin.
Clarify, that's the standard for white dads.
That is the standard for white dads, yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. There is.
Yeah.
This is not my experience.
No. We've determined that your dad looks quite a lot like Lister from like early seasons of Red Dwarf. Right?
Yeah.
That was kind of like that's the aesthetic.
Right.
Yeah, this is. I would say that this time period of when this photo is the mother is pregnant, but neither the dad or the mum know that the pregnancy is a situation. Like that's usually the time frame of this type of picture.
Right.
So
I'm in a hair and beard situation that's quite, goodies era Bill Oddie, and I'm not sure what to think about that. But hey, whatever, that's just the hand that the Lord has dealt me.
Yeah. it's you have late 70s, early 80s dad structure.
I object to that in not even the slightest little way, and in fact, I think I'll go a step further. I think I should immediately be employed as a children's television presenter in a retro-looking kids TV series.
There's a real kind of rainbow aesthetic about you.
Yeah, I need to learn to play the guitar, obviously. But once I've got that sorted out, then I can be a 70s, 80s kids TV presenter, and I think I'd be a good one.
You're familiar with Rainbow, right? That was a show that you...
Yeah.
Yes. Because it was still on when I was very little, and then it kind of vanished. Yeah. What was the bear's name? The bear was Bungle, right?
Bear was Bungle.
And then the Zippy was a Dalek. Roy Skelton, who was the voice of Zippy, was also the voice of the Daleks in the classic Doctor Who.
Yes, okay, yes. I take your point, yes, Zippy was a Dalek.
So, and then there was a hippo whose name I don't recall. Georgina, something like that, yeah.
No, George.
Just George, okay, cool. Well, one of us has to be right, and it's not usually going to be me.
He was called George.
There's an old... And I'm pretty sure it's an urban legend. I don't think it actually happened. But my dad used to love telling the story about how Rainbow, at the end of the show, would either fade... For the end credits, would either fade to black, or the camera would just pull out as the characters were doing stuff, and the credits would scroll over that, like it's the end of SNL. Mm-hmm. And...
That's a fantastic story. Did your dad tell that very often?
No, there's more.
What?
Yeah, that's not it. Listen, that's pretty exciting on its own, but get this. So
I'm going to have to brace myself.
The story my dad used to tell, and I think he told it here in America because no one would be able to correct him, so I suspect it was an urban legend or just a lie. I think it might have just actually been like a full-on lie. But the story he used to tell was that the guy playing Bungle, the bear, had been told, we're going to fade to black this week. And they didn't. So as the show comes to an end, he pulls his head off and says, oh, it's getting hot in that thing. And then it cuts to black. And then the next week, Bungle had a different voice. Now, I don't know if that's true. And I've done zero research on it, but I don't think it happened. I think it's one of those... I think it's like one of those Roger the Cabin Boy kind of situations where it's a fun joke that has just kind of been repeated so often that people assume it's true.
Yeah, and also it may have sort of evolved in its own way, because I just did a quick Google of that. I clicked, what I typed was Bungle fired swearing, and this is on the Wikipedia page for Bungle, not Rainbow. Bungle has got its own Wikipedia page. It says an urban legend holds that one actor, presumably Stanley Bates, playing the role of Bungle, was fired after swearing at a child who had deliberately stood on his foot during a live show. Although longtime Rainbow contributor Malcolm Lord revealed that Bates chose to stand down before the live shows began in order to concentrate upon script writing, giving Lord the opportunity to portray Bungle himself. So, who knows? Who knows?
Whoever wrote that Wikipedia edition may know more. There may be more, but I feel like there would be something online about it if it had happened.
Your dad's story, though, is made more plausible by the refutation of that story, because in your dad's story there's no live show involved, which is the sticking point. That's the point where it's like, well, no, he left before there were live shows. So yeah, it could well be. Oh wait, I'm saying live shows as if I mean a touring stage production. It could just mean a live episode of Rainbow.
Was Rainbow ever broadcast live? I don't know that it was.
Which makes me feel that the fade out story can't be true, because I'm sure that they, do you know what I mean? They would have just faded out or done another take, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, it only works. Yes, that story only works if Rainbow is broadcast live. What I find interesting about the story is that your dad was telling it of America, where they wouldn't be able to refute that. Also, they wouldn't have had any knowledge of what Rainbow was. They wouldn't have cared about a story about it. It's a strange claim to make for something that the audience is not familiar with.
The other thing I know that my dad once did was he did try to introduce his American friends to the concept of the Magic Roundabout, and he'd been really selling it, like saying this is a really great show, it's really good, and then he got VHS tapes of it and put them on for his friends, and everyone in the room simultaneously, including my dad, realized, oh, this actually isn't that good.
Oh, right. Wow. That's... I don't know how they managed that, because it is.
I had the opposite experience. I tracked down episodes of Nightmare, remembering it from my childhood, and thinking, well, this can't be any good, but it's an interesting kind of Dungeons and Dragons-y kind of premise. Let's put some on. And it was brilliant. Yes.
It's very good, Nightmare, yeah.
Yeah.
No, Magic Roundabout's very good. I think the problem with Dad will that Magic Roundabout's popularity, mostly like the fact that it became like this, byword for the BBC.
I'm being asked what controller I'm using. It is in fact an Xbox One controller.
The reason that it became as popular as it did, rather than just being a children's TV program that was on the time, was because students were watching it ironically, and then very quickly getting into it for real.
Yeah.
And so which is no, ironically isn't quite the right word. That studenty way that that made Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy popular on the radio, where people who were of just the right age to get massively into something that's quite clever, specifically students, got into it. And that's what happened with Magic Roundabout, as I understand it. The parents started liking it as well. And that was because, Eric Thompson was just quite clever, and he was just putting effort in and doing it quite well. But I can well imagine that if you talk it up, remembering that feeling, and then you put it on, it's going to turn out not to have that. You can't transmit that quality. An example that my friend Jahan from Serious Business, my other podcast, has. My other podcast, this isn't a podcast, but one of my podcasts has, is that him and all of his friends got incredibly into the film Flushed Away at university. And to them, it was a genuinely wonderful film that they deeply loved. And it was this thing they had between them, and there were shared jokes and shared experiences, and they loved it. And he can't watch it now because he's realised it was probably just a bit balls.
Yeah.
And it was a bit balls. And so I wasn't able to see fully the version of the film that he could. And he realised this when he bought it for me. He bought me the DVD. And he was like, I am buying, unironically, a great time for my friend to enjoy this fantastic film. And at some point between giving me that DVD and the point at which I was going to watch it, he completely changed his mind and basically made me promise never to watch it because he realised what he'd done was that he'd mistaken, nostalgia for a good time with particular friends for the film being the reason that time happened. And it might be a bit crap.
Have you
I don't know because I haven't. No.
You should watch it then.
Well, but I've been explicitly told not to by the person who bought it for me.
Well, then what you do is you buy another copy and you watch that instead. you buy it on Blu-ray.
Yeah. Well, yes, indeed. That was in the DVD.
Maybe you
day.
need to see all of the pixels to really appreciate the nuance of the Aardman animation CG movie flushed away.
Maybe, yeah. Yes, that was always weird, wasn't it? I remember being not on board when they announced that film because Nick Park wasn't involved in the film. They just used his personal style, which I found distasteful in some way.
Well, I think people now associate that with Aardman in the same way that even though Disney is dead, you can still tell that Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin and what have you are Disney movies because of aesthetic choices.
Sure. Yeah,
I want to stress Lady gained 69 experience points from that fight. So we did quite nicely out of that one. And we killed a child. We killed all of this child's best friends have all been murdered by us.
That's the aim of Pokemon.
It is. The goal is to just kind of ruin a kid's good time.
Yeah. Oh, G in Garage suggests watching it with only one eye open, and then I'll only see half of the film. That could be. Yes, that might work.
I'm trying to think if there are any movies like that where I love them despite the fact that they're actually bad, and it's not the film.
Oh, I have.
I enjoy. It's the memories around that of that time. I'm sure there are.
Oh, yes. I think perhaps Fern Gully is one of those for me. Not very good, but I remember exactly how it felt when I thought it was amazing. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a very big fan of the Super Mario Brothers movie, but that doesn't quite fit this category because it is the movie I like, and not the memories.
My opinion on the Super Mario Brothers movie has kind of dithered back and forth over the years, but I do own it on Blu-ray, so I must like it a little bit.
Yes, I own it on Blu-ray, and I've never watched it on Bluray.
The Blu-ray transfer is very nice.
I know, and I know that because I've popped it on. I've had a look at bits of it, but I extensively watched that YouTube video that they made where they you pulled the line away and here's what it looks like. Oh yeah, amazing transfer, especially compared to the previously the best copy that it was on DVD, but it was non-anamorphic, which is to say even George Lucas did release the original Star Wars trilogy on a non-anamorphic DVD, and it didn't change even in the slightest the knowledge that he has never released it in any modern format.
Yeah.
So that gives you an idea of how bad that is. The best quality version, which I still have on my hard drives because it was something I needed to have, was a particular Swedish DVD, which maybe that was anamorphic or something, or non-anamorphic, but the best quality there was, or something like that. For some reason, we knew that it was the best one. But yeah, no, I've got the Blu-ray. I got it as soon as it came out, which was either in 2012 or 14. Talking about this on the stream last night, funny enough. And never watched it because I've never... This goes back to a conversation we were having earlier. When I saw Super Mario Brothers in the cinema, I happened at the time to be eating a bag of Fox's Mints. And then when I saw it again at the cinema, I again bought a bag of Fox's Mints to recreate that experience. And as a result, I have ever since then always had Fox's Mints while watching the Super Mario Brothers movie. And to me, the two are not separatable. The problem with this is that there is now no longer a time in the day when I probably eat Fox's Mints, knowing that I'm not going to want to taste anything else that day. So I've never done it. I suppose the evening is the answer, really.
Yeah.
It's after you've had your tea.
Yeah.
Is the time to do that. There we go. I've solved the problem. So all I need to do now
is
get
Good job. Nailed it.
Yes. It really was just one of those things where all I needed to do stop for a moment and think about it. I know who I look like. Richard Stilgo.
I need to be reminded who that is.
Well, he wrote the lyrics to Starlight Express,
Oh.
but he was a man who used to sit on a piano on That's Life and sing silly songs, and he had this sort of arrangement of facial hair and actual hair, and that was, late 70s, early 80s. He was a dad of that period.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was a dad, but he was what dads looked like, and that's what I resemble.
You do also look like that guy on Sherlock who... I can't remember the name of the character, but Sherlock made fun of him a lot in the first 2 seasons. And then the start of the 3rd season is him, obsessively theorizing over how Sherlock cheated his own death.
I cannot remember who that was.
I remember the name of the actor. But I think it might be Richard something, but I also think maybe I'm just confusing him with Richard Armitage.
Or Richard Stilgo.
Or Richard Stilgo. But also, he was also in... I know I saw him in Good Omens, and I've seen him in some other things. He's got a big beard now. A great big bushy beard. It's not quite bushy, but it's kind of... He has your kind of haircut, and... I'm going to look it up now, actually. I'm going to look up...
I think haircut is going a bit far. I think, because cut implies that someone deliberately made it a certain way, and that is not
on purpose, yes. I'm going to find this actor's name. I'm going to find him.
Right.
Jonathan Aris.
Right, that still doesn't help me. I'm going to have to do
He played Anderson. He's also been in... I'm just looking at his list of movies. He was in Rogue One.
Right.
He was in the He was in The World's End.
Yes, I see. Yes, I'm looking at him now, and yes, I know what it is.
He's much more beardy now, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I know him as not having a beard, and I don't know why. I don't know what I know him from. But it's... Whatever it was not a beard.
I forgot he was in Bandersnatch as well, in the Black Mirror interactive episode.
Perhaps it was... No, I haven't watched that. Well, I'm going to the toilet now, so you're going to have to just talk. Sorry about that.
Well, if there's one thing I'm good at, it's talking while other people urinate.
Yes, you're very good at that.
It's a skill.
This is why you keep... Yes, but you do keep getting in trouble about it, because not everyone has invited you.
I mean, that's true. But if they didn't want me there to talk, why would they be peeing? I think that's really what it boils down to. I will tell you this. We have 2 cats right now, one of whom is not feeling her best, and the other of whom has decided this morning to be a massive, massive dick about it. Where is he? What has he done? Oh, he got up on the shelf? Oh no, he got up on the shelf with my doctor. Did he knock shit over? Do I have to reset that all up?
No.
That's heartbreaking. What is... What is his problem? He's a cat. He's in a weird mood. I love my cat. His name is DiGiorno. And then you can't see the other cat just off of the camera. But that's Murphy, aka 2 Robocops, named for the 2 bravest people that Mandy has ever known. And she's not feeling very well at the moment. And we pick her up and show you on camera, but she hates being held and will just scream into the microphone, which might have some entertainment value of its own. But right now she's just kind of sitting on the couch and being very small. But that's our exciting... Have you watched Game Champ's VG Myths? I haven't. But as has been pointed out to me by Mickey Husky, someone on the planet is always peeing. By which I mean, there is always someone on the planet somewhere who is peeing. Not that there's one person who cannot stop peeing. That person doesn't exist, because they would be dead. There are so many myths about Pokemon, though. Like the Mew hidden under the van situation, which I remember trying to recreate that so many times and assuming, oh, I must have done something wrong. I did it wrong. And then restarting my game to try to recreate the process and getting it wrong every time. But no, it's because that thing didn't exist. What is my... There he is. There's that little asshole. There's DiGiorno. You can see him. He's right there. and he's in some kind of mood this morning. Maybe if I open the front door. I know he's just curling up by the door frame, which is one of his favourite places to sleep. It's just in that door frame, which means I have kicked him at least once. Not on purpose, it just happened. I think Dave will reach a point where he stops peeing. Mandy's getting no context for this. You're just, for starters, there's no one else here, but I'm looking at the chat, and every now and then you just hear me say things like, yeah, Dave will stop peeing eventually. I will be honest with you, I'm the one who pitched to Dave that we play Pokemon on the stream, and I am starting to regret that choice. Because this is not... I don't know that I would describe this as fun. Oh yeah, I remember... Do you remember Pokemon Black? Like the urban myth about there was a black version of Pokemon? And at the end of the game, every Pokemon that you've killed comes back to you, and I forget the specifics of that one. Siege Feather says, well, we all stop peeing eventually. Isn't that the truth? Oh,
Hello, I've finished doing that now. I've stopped peeing.
Good job. There. I'm going to catch this Mankey.
Okay, good. Do that. I'll tell you what, I've had a chance to reflect during that Wii, and I've realised...
Yes.
What I've realised is that we have been doing this for like 2 hours now, and sort of should stop.
Yes. We're getting to that point.
Mostly because I need to cook some tea and that, but also because it's just not a very interesting game.
Yes.
But we're having a nice time, aren't we?
Yeah, we're having a little chat. We'll play better games next time.
Yes. Yeah, we might well do that. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure there's a Pokemon Center up here that I can go into to heal.
Funny one, Pokemon, because it is a good game. Like, I don't mean it's a good game. There's something it sits right on the line between a game that is good despite the fact that it's not. If you see what I mean.
It's a very simple game. It's fun to play. Yeah. It's like there are things that I definitely like doing that I would not want to watch another person do. Like, I find very therapeutic. I like doing the dishes. I don't physically get to do them all the time because my body is a toilet. But I do
interesting.
I do like doing the dishes. I think there's a therapy, and it gives you a space to kind of think and stuff like that. But I think that that's not. I don't think anyone would watch a stream of me doing the dishes.
I think you should find out by doing that.
I could do it. I'll tell you what. I did some research recently. I found out, and this is mostly because when Mandy and I started streaming Sea of Thieves, and we wanted to have, because I'm on the PC, Mandy uses the Xbox, so we wanted to have a second webcam. So I did find out how to use an Android cell phone as a webcam. So I could perch a phone on, I could put a pop socket on the wall, put the phone there, and see if people want to watch me do dishes. I don't think they will.
But the thing is, you could be talking to... do you know what? I actually think that watching someone do the dishes would be a nice thing for them to be doing while they chat to you, if you see what I mean, on a stream. I think there's a market for that, especially given that you apparently like... It's odd to me that you like doing the dishes when it represents pain to you.
When my body is functional, doing the dishes is something I can do where I know I have a set goal, I know I can meet that goal, but it's also something that you don't necessarily have to devote 100% of your brain to. So you can spend clock cycles doing different things. I problem solve when I do dishes. I think about when I'm working on a writing project. I think about the next thing I'm going to write. And then after you eat your cereal, you do the dishes. You have to. If you eat the dishes before, then all the dishes, the cereal will taste like mint. Wait, hang on. I think may have mixed up. Dave, I'm sharing my full screen with you, right?
Yes,
I think see the entire thing. So what you're seeing right now is you're seeing OBS on the right and Discord on the left. So it is a Ben sandwich with Dave bread right now. That's
right.
That's what you're seeing now. And there's Mandy in the middle. Mandy's like the pickle. Yeah. That's something that's just for us, really, because the stream can't see that. Oh well. What are you gonna have for dinner?
A curry.
Oh, that sounds nice, actually.
Yes, I didn't really infuse it with much description, so you're imagining most of the.
And my brain is
just,
it's just a run off with the word curry.
That's the thing. It's an evocative word.
Yeah.
And you can imagine. To be a bit more specific, it will be a chicken curry. It will probably. I think it's a fairly basic korma out of a jar. It will have some. What's the name for the little triangles that you have with a curry sometimes?
The little the little triangles you have with a curry.
With veg in.
With veg in. Vegetable. Samosa?
Yes.
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 Mandy got it. Yes.
We've got some of those, and we've got some ploppadops and some ploppadop dip to dip the dops in, and it's going to be nice.
I like a good chicken tikka. There's a restaurant in Burbank, my favorite Indian restaurant. It was also my dad's favorite Indian restaurant, called Flavor of India, and their menu is fantastic. They have a really good spread of Indian food, but next to chicken tikka masala, it does specify Dolly Parton's favorite. Because she said it's one of her favorite Indian dishes. So that's what's on the menu. And I think they put that on the menu to, like, if there are any Americans who are coming in, they're maybe not quite sure what to do for a meal. Maybe they're slightly put off by the idea of Indian food generally because Americans are famously terrible. I think there is that idea of, well, if Dolly Parton likes it, I don't know why I went slightly northern for that, because that's not what Americans sound like. If Dolly Parton likes it, then that's what I'll have. Because Dolly Parton is the reason we have a COVID vaccine.
Yes.
So she must be smart.
I think it's
and so many other things.
Ate that specific tikka masala. She didn't, but it implies that she ate.
Yeah,
yes, that was going to be my question as well. She didn't go to that restaurant to eat it.
Jeremy in the chat just says papadum ? And I don't know if that's you questioning the spelling of how to spell papadum, which is not that. Or it might be that. I think there was it's one of those words where there's because
it's one of those, yeah.
It's one of those words where because it doesn't originate in English with a with the alphabet that
Roman
we use.
Alphabet. Yeah.
There are again, another example of that is the name Mohammed, for which I think there's 5 or 6 different spellings. But it's I love a good poppadom. I love poppadoms. I love naan bread. I love having something to dip the naan bread in. Which usually just ends up being the leftover sauce from the chicken tikka I've just had. No, I want Indian. I think I will have Indian next weekend.
I know. I have a. I've only been twice. That was both times within the same week, because it was the week that I was staying in the town that it's in, which is called Williton. It's a town called Williton, which is somewhere in the south of England somewhere, and the town of Williton seems to consist entirely of this Indian restaurant and a petrol station over the road from it, and a car park, and that's it. That's
the whole
Williton.
town,
and it's worth it. It's worth building a town just around this Indian restaurant. I can't tell you the name of the restaurant, and of course, I can't tell you if it survived the pandemic. I hope it has.
That's the worst part. It's like going past a restaurant or a place that I used to love going into and seeing it's boarded up or there's a Felice sign in the window. That really has been. It's not the hard. I would say the hardest part of the pandemic is not being allowed to go outdoors for an extended periods of time. But it's definitely one of the worst things about the pandemic is I don't know which businesses and restaurants and places that I used to go to are going to exist in.
We can go back
months.
to.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. One like that I had, which is nothing to do with the pandemic, is that a favorite theme park. I don't know if I can describe it as that. A favorite place of mine, in which multiple trains were parked on train tracks, never to be moved, because they had been strung together, carved out into a series of tunnels that you walk through, and they were full of animatronics depicting various nursery rhymes and fairy tales and things. And it was just a nice place to be. And there was also there was a moving train, but it was like a little toy train, and it took you on a ride around some animatronic Smurfs. And there was another big animatronic. There was a lot of animatronics going on in the place, and those were my favourite thing. And that is now just gone. It's just closed.
Wow.
It was closed, and that's it. There's no other reasoning. And that's sad. And to look at it now, because what it was a sweet little train station that had been turned into this little kids theme park. Then it became just nothing, just closed. And I think they're turning it into flats or something now.
That's
and it's like, well, it is, isn't it? Luckily, it was a kind of a pendant outcropping of a bigger, similar, even more important such park, but which is still there. But still, it makes me very upset that sort of thing can happen. That they can it's that they can cancel. That's what it is. It's that anyone can ever make something really good that improves your life, and then they're allowed to just stop. This isn't, by the way, this isn't a pointed reference about Portscenter.
I didn't think it was until you brought it up, and now I think it absolutely is.
But based on our earlier conversation, it have sounded like one. Now I'm sort of leaning in that direction. No, I genuinely, I've always understood why you stopped doing it. And if you hadn't done by then, if you'd stopped in 2020, that would have been like, yeah, fair play. I've not done a lot in 2020. Well, video-wise, I haven't done it all a stream. Brimming with ideas, and I've got them all ready to go. When you were saying you're going through a creative phase, or at least heading towards one, me too. I've got all sorts of little irons put in little fires, and it's just a question of hoping that they sizzle up soon and that the energy comes, because, yes, it's odd being trapped indoors and still trying to make the same cheerful content as ever,
Speaking of content, you have a couple of people in the chat wondering if you're ever going to do a part 5 of revisiting Ocarina of Time.
Not only am I going to do it, I've been working on it lately.
Oh!
And that's what the beard's for.
Oh! That's going to be good.
That will happen at some point. Well, because the thing is, now we're so far removed from when I was doing those regularly that I can't simply make a 5th one like it's a normal.
Yeah, you got to address the gap a little bit.
Yeah, and frankly, what I intend to do is talk why I didn't continue to do them and do part 5 immediately, because it was the last one. I only had to do that. And there are reasons why I didn't do it. Well, among them was a hard drive crash that I thought lost all the footage, but I found it, or at least most.
I remember you talking about that, because I think didn't that happen when at some point when we were doing serial reports previously, or was it just a conversation that we had?
It will have just been a conversation, because this was like 5 years.
Oh well, then yeah. Yes, you know what? You're absolutely right.
Yeah, there are other reasons why I stopped doing them, and those reasons tie neatly into the fact that we're currently in a pandemic and locked indoors in an odd way. So I'm going to be talking about more things than just the making of the Ocarina of Time song in Ocarina of Time behind the scenes part 5, but also that. Don't worry, you're also getting the actual behind the scenes stuff that you wanted. It's just you're also going to have to listen to me talk about other things. Among them, let this be a little teaser. The time I put, not deliberately, a little dropper bottle of acid in my eye, and had to quickly rush off to the hospital. That's a story I'm going to be telling.
I don't know that I'm going to be able to watch that video now.
It's all right. There'll be no visual. There'll be no visual stuff at all. What I've just said to you, that's the hardest part of the video.
Oh man!
I'll be making it very jolly. And let me say right now, it was fine, and my eyes still work, and it didn't hurt, and it was fine. So and you can gather from that it wasn't a very strong acid that I put in the eye. Well, look, you're obviously bothered by this story. It's that they put Otex eardrops in a very similar bottle to eye drops.
Yes.
Is the long and the short of it.
Okay, yeah, I was going to... How do you accidentally put acid in your eye? But now that makes sense, because eardrops are kind of a very mild acid.
They're
now...
mild acid, yeah. Anyway, if this happens to anyone, if you put something in your eye you shouldn't, it turns out just put lots of water on your eye for as long as you can bear to. Like, keep putting it on. That fixed it. I fixed it. But
good job.
Anyway, but there will be more to that story when the video comes out.
I also have a video that I have kind of started the preliminary work on. At some point in the last couple of years, I decided I wanted to start talking about other media that I think it's a conversation you and I have had, but I wanted to do something that, especially now I'm doing stuff, I've been doing Portscenter for, I think it's been nearly 10 years since I shot the pilot. So we're looking at like 8-9 years since the show started proper. And it is, since we moved to Filmjoy, in fact, we moved to Filmjoy when Filmjoy was still called Chainsaw Suit.
Oh yeah.
But since moving to Filmjoy, and because now it's branded as Filmjoy, I have felt increasingly like Portscenter, as much as I enjoy doing it, doesn't fit with everything that Mikey's doing with the channel, with Deep Dive, with Movies with Mikey. So I've had a show that I've wanted to make for about 100 years called Ben Loves, where I talk about media that I love, TV shows, movies, comic books, music, video games, you name it. And I wrote a video essay about Red Dwarf, and I started putting that video together, but I was using a different process that I'd been using on Portscenter. When I write Portscenter, I write it in screenplay format, because that helps me kind of break it down into nice manageable chunks. Whereas with this, I just wrote it as a video essay and thought I will build it in the edit, and it turns out I can't do that. I don't have that skill. Mikey has that. Mikey's very good at that. I do not have that skill. I need a script. I need a document to kind of guide me through that video editing process. So the Red Dwarf episode, I'm probably going to redo at some point. But the one I'm working on now, that I started doing the preliminary work on last weekend, is I'm going to do a video about The Shape of Water. And the reason I'm doing a video about The Shape of Water is it is my favourite movie of all time. It wasn't. Before that, it was Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And then I went to see The Shape of Water in the theatre, and I had an emotional experience that changed me, which is, I think, what all good art should do. And so I'm writing a script right now that is for a reboot of Red Dwarf. Like, if I would have... No, I'm writing a script right now that is about... It's going to be a video about what The Shape of Water is about, which I think The Shape of Water is about wanting to be seen. There are so many characters in that movie that want to be seen for who they are, both on both sides of the coin. You've got Eliza, who wants to be seen as a whole, like she's not missing something. And then you have, I think it's Strickland, the name of the guy who is kind of in charge of trying to find the amphibian man after he's been rescued by Eliza, wants to be seen as an asset, and and Giles, who's this kind of closeted gay man who kind of exposes himself to, like, not in a sexual way, but like kind of reveals himself. I realise that was a bad choice of words, but kind of reveals himself to the pie guy in the shop and kind of gets metaphorically kicked in the face for doing that. And everyone in this movie on all layers wants to be seen, and I think that's ultimately what that movie is about. So I'm starting to assemble the script for that, and I'm hoping to make a nice somewhere in like 15-20 minute length video about what that movie means to me and what I think that movie is about, but also have it be funny and entertaining and slightly goofy in places. Because it is a movie where I started crying halfway through and could not drive home after I finished it because I was still in the car crying. So,
oh man,
yeah,
okay.
But that's what I'm hoping to work on next, and I hope that somebody gets some kind of enjoyment of that. G and Garage has left. Because they heard you talk about that you're doing a part 5 of Ocarina, and they've gone forever. They've evaporated. Yeah. But I hope 2021 is the year that I hope we get to make more things.
Yes.
It was very difficult to make things last year because of the kind of oppressive kind of pressure of everything. Everything, it felt like. We were we're in a wartime mode, and we still are in a way. That's not going to change anytime, I think, really until the end of this year.
It's funny. I quite quickly adjusted. I think because everything I do is done in an indoor-y sort of. Yeah. I quite quickly adjusted to life indoors back in March, but I haven't been able to do things with the same. Like, I don't feel too bad. I'm not in what I would think feels like a depression or anything, but I just haven't been able to make the things which I understand to be a sort of depression-y symptom.
Yeah.
So like, because a lot of what I would do before my writing, my editing, I would do in a having gone there city cafe surrounded by grass and people and dogs and things. Not having that environment has basically made it so that I'm very slow at producing any of the things I would do before, even though my enjoyment of them is identical.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I can feel it seeping back in. I think something about just the fact that we've now crossed over to 2021 is a completely arbitrary number, but nevertheless, it has a psychological effect, and and mine appears to be that I'm just sort of raring to go and coming up with little ideas and strategies about what I might do about that. And I'm back on writing, and I'm back on drawing comics and so on. Yeah, things are getting made again.
I
slowly, but they are.
Yeah, I started script editing the sci-fi comedy audio play again yesterday. I was going through the script yesterday. I'm trying to figure out how to, because I've moved apartments since we recorded the first 2 episodes, so my sound space is completely different. So we're trying to figure out how to record that. But there's stuff, I like making stuff, and I want to keep making stuff. And I like making stuff with, like, I like doing this stream with you. Like, we didn't do this for a big chunk of last year.
No, exactly.
And this is, I also think, like, that kind of feeling that you associate with creating is something that is, I think, is very fragile and very precious. And I think last year, because we were all in survival mode, I don't want to speak for everyone, but for me, there's a fear of, what if that feeling gets crushed or damaged in some way because of everything else.
But you mean permanently?
Yeah.
Right.
What if I make something that kills or what if through the act of trying to make something, I kill my desire to make anything because my head is in the weird space. But then stuff like this, like, I love doing stuff like this. I love doing podcasts. I love doing streams because it's a great way to stay connected to the people that you care about. Like, without wanting to kind of fart around a little bit, I care about you. Like, I like getting to sit here and spend time with you. And we I played Pokemon while we kind of made fun of the fact that Pokemon is not really a very streamable game. But I think we had some very interesting conversations, and I think some cool stuff came out in chat. And I know that I don't think we're doing this next weekend. I don't know what your schedule's like.
Probably not, and I can't remember why, but I think, I think settled on doing it every couple of weeks is just sort of easier to manage, isn't it? It means that we can also agree to do other.
Yeah, so we do another one of these in 2 weeks, and we pick 2 games that are actually on theme instead of slowly, like, meandering through Pokemon Yellow. But I part of me feels like half of it is the game isn't the stream, the conversation is the stream, the kind of getting to interact with you, and I think what comes out of the chat is not so much fueled by the game that we're playing. That does come up, but I think it's mostly the conversation that we're having either about or around the game, and that is what fuels it. We're talking about the show on the show now, which is it's about this inside base. We've climbed inside of the baseball that is inside of baseball.
I feel as if, I feel as if we ought to reach outside a little bit and answer this, what's being said here in the chat, which is that John Morgan and Mickey Husky are saying that they start so many projects and then, like, can't quite ever finish them. And I relate to that, although I've never really been sad about it. I've spent years starting novels and comics and things like this that are like, and I don't, that's not something I think I do anymore, even if I'm still in a position where the majority of my things remain on, but nevertheless I'm still doing them, so that, do you know what I mean? It doesn't concern me that they're not yet finished. It turns out, I don't really know how, will I be able to articulate this? If you just keep doing that, if you keep doing what you're talking about, where you start a project, even if you didn't finish that project, it was still worth starting, because what you're doing is you're laying foundations. You are figuring out by trial and error what the project you will finish will be.
Yeah.
And the way you'll know it when it comes is that you are prepared to force yourself to continue. There's no project there's no you'll ever get to the without trying. You'll never find a project where you're like, oh, I started it and I finished it in the same mood and it was easy and I got there.
Yeah.
No, you'll always want to stop. The question is, which one will you be able to be grown up about it and force yourself to continue and finish it? Because if you can't, if you try and you can't, that's not a failing. That is that the project was like, it's not the project wasn't good enough, but it's like, that wasn't the one.
Yeah.
And when you find the one, you'll probably be able to go back to some of those unfinished ones, do them, once you've taught yourself the ability to finish. But the way to find that finish that first big project is to find the one that it wouldn't ruin your life to keep working on. The one that you, even though you don't want to in that moment, you can still do it and you'll be all right. And you can imagine that maybe when you get through the tricky bit in the middle, the stuff at the end you're very excited to work on. When that comes along, then that's the one. And I've currently got a few of those. And one of them's a novel, and one of them's a non-fiction book, and one of them's a comic, and things like this. And yes, those are now like fond partners that I have through life. I'm able to just keep going back to them, and it feels good that they're ongoing.
Yeah.
A bit like how my attitude to video games has been similar. I like the fact that I haven't finished Breath of the Wild. I will continue, like, next time I fancy playing it, I'll, as ever, be pushing forwards to finish it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't upset me that I haven't, because it's something that's open and available to go back and do when I want to, and that's nice.
And
that's
even
the project you're looking
quote-unquote finishing it, like, there's so many different variables for what finishing a game like Breath of the Wild is.
That's true in the case of Breath of the Wild. When it comes to a novel, it's going to feel the same, and I'm going to... This is the thing I'm worried about. I'm going to have to decide it's finished.
Not if you make it a choose-your-own-adventure.
There you go. Like, so for example, I keep mentioning I've been doing comics, and everyone will probably go, "What? That's not something Dave does." And that's because you haven't seen it yet. I've got down here 3 comics that I used to sell at comic conventions. The Demon Tomato. That's why I'm called Demon Tomato Dave. I'm the guy who used to make the Demon Tomato comic, and I've got a new one that I'm working on that's like a. And it was supposed to be 24 pages, and it broached 50 pages, and it's just ongoing and ongoing, and I'm just doing it until it's finished. But that is nice, and I enjoy it, and then it'll be done one day, and then you can all have it, you know? So that's the sort of project you're looking for, something that you like to be working on.
I look forward to having that comic. There are cats everywhere. And Murphy was just growling into the mic. I don't know if you caught that.
I didn't.
Because Mandy was picking Murphy up, and if there's one thing
I did.
If there's one thing Murphy doesn't like, it is everything. And everything does include being picked up.
That's a subset of everything, yeah.
I think we're at a point. It's 11:40 here, which means it must be 7:40 there.
20 to 8 at night. High time we started that curry. Let's wrap it up.
Get yourself a curry. Ladies and gentlemen and variations thereupon, thank you so much for joining us for this particular installment of Serial Ports. If you enjoy the show and you're not already subscribed to Dave's YouTube channel, do it. You're here. There's a button and everything. It's great.
That's right. Yeah, do that. What about you, though? What can they subscribe to with you?
For me, I'm on Twitter. My handle is here. But if you want to... yeah, I've got them on the screen. I don't know if you can see that. Yours is underneath you and mine is underneath me. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Very good.
Yeah, just slapped them on there. I GM a Doctor Who role-playing game podcast called The Game of Rassilon. The 3rd season should be starting in March. But if you like role-playing games and you like Doctor Who, we've got 2 full seasons of adventure, some of which include, I'm not kidding, some of my favourite moments ever to happen in Doctor Who, and I was in the room when they happened, which is kind of cool. Even though we're not officially Doctor Who, we don't think like that. There's Doctor Who. We've made more hours of Doctor Who than Chris Chibnall has, and I think that's impressive, personally.
And better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Modesty prevents me from agreeing with you, sir. But yes. But yeah, The Game of Rassilon, you can find that by searching for The Game of Rassilon or Doctor Who role-playing game in whatever your podcasting apparatus of preference may be. Dave, where can people find you other than on this very YouTube channel? Yeah.
Well, they can find me on Twitter as Demon Tomato Dave, and they can find me on Twitch as Demon Tomato Dave. I do some of my that's where I do my game streams. It's really, for some reason, it's only this and Serious Business that I ever stream on YouTube. But anyway, But if they want like content, I was saying earlier that
if content's your thing, if stuff is what you're after.
Yeah, well, I've been saying that I've not been making stuff in like 2020. That's not true. I have been making a podcast, 2 podcasts, in fact. One every 2 weeks. Sonic the Comic, the podcast. Sonic as in the Hedgehog. The comic as in comics about Sonic the Hedgehog, but not either the Archie or IDW ones you can get in America. No, here in the UK we had our own Sonic comic. It started in 1993. We cover an issue per episode, and you do not have to have read it to listen to the episode, although they're on the internet. Read them along with us. But we've got a number of listeners, and this surprises us, who aren't even interested in Sonic, and they seem to like our podcast. That's because we put a lot of effort into it. It's all produced. It's got all jingles and bits and sections and sound effects and music. And sometimes we did a full like radio dramatization of the origin of Sonic issue when that came along. That's issue 8. It's called Sonic the Comic, the podcast, and we cover because it's not just a Sonic comic. They did other Sega games, they did news and reviews and letters pages and adverts, and we cover it all. It's like being there. It's like being in the past when things were better and games were younger and it was better. So that's Sonic the Comic, the podcast. You can find that at stctp.wigglehe.com. You can also find my other podcast, Serious Disney, which is the animation podcast I was talking about earlier, the Disney podcast, with Jahan Ranasingh, and we talk about those remakes they've been making that nobody really knows why, because nobody likes them. We do. How did Matt from the Life's a Pitch podcast describe it? He says we're the only people who give good faith reviews to those films. And yes, we find a lot of them to be bad films, but we get there in good faith, and some of them turn out to be good, and we take it seriously. This week, as it happens, I'm on another podcast with Jahan from Serious Disney. And I keep saying Jahan is on Serious Disney. Sonic the Comic, the podcast, is co-hosted by Chris McFeely from Transformers The Basics on YouTube. Some of you might know him from that. Me and Jahan are on Life's a Pitch, the Life's a Pitch podcast, which is a really funny improv podcast. And what it is that their listeners give them silly names for films, and we all have to pitch those films and who will be in them and what the story is, and we do the marketing, all of it. That's Life's a Pitch. Go and find it. So Life's a Pitch this week, and Serious Disney, and Sonic the Comic, the podcast, and this YouTube channel
that we're on right now. Yeah, if you're not already subscribed, fix that immediately. Apparently I need to. There we go. Boom. Just click the button. Apparently I wasn't subscribed. I think I was subscribed from the Portscenter channel, not from my personal.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it. You can go and put curry in your face. And
yes,
that's how we're signing off the show from now on. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
You can go and put curry.
You can go and put curry in your face.
Thanks to everyone who's been watching. Thanks also to people who haven't been watching. And no thank you to people who don't exist.
Especially thanks to them.
Yeah.
No, not thanks to them. Okay, yeah. Go and put curry in your face. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.